You're listening to The Pete Sheppard Show.
It's good to be back.
This jersey that we wear today, it doesn't say Red Sox. It says Boston. This is our city. And nobody gonna dictate our freedom. Stay strong. Thank you.
The unforgettable Big Papi in 2013.
Oh man, still gives me chills, gets goosebumps already. Good morning, everybody. How are you today? Welcome to the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network. Man, oh man. Well, you heard Big Papi. That was back in 2013. Boston Marathon is today. Never forget. Boston strong. Red Sox at 11. NBA, NHL playoffs are going to recap it all, baby. Let's get it going. Well, thanks for checking us out here on the Pete Sheppard Show across the awesome video platform that we have. Following me on Twitter X at PShep326 on both our Facebook pages, on my Facebook page, the Coastal Sports Network Facebook page. And if you choose to share, that's fine too. Whatever. Thousands of people out there, thank you very much for sharing the show at any time. CSN Florida, Rumble, YouTube, Kick, LinkedIn, and call or text the show 727-858-6650, 727-858-6650. Wow, what a weekend. Hope everybody had a happy Passover and a happy Easter weekend. I did. The weather down here was absolutely gorgeous all weekend long. And I hope wherever you are, and it was a little warmer than usual in parts of the Northeast and the Midwest, and I hope wherever you are around the country and around the world that you had a happy Easter, happy Passover. And before we get into anything today, unbelievable, because I just saw him in the Pope Mobile yesterday with Vice President Nance, and unfortunately, Pope Francis, in case you didn't know, it broke this morning a few hours ago. Pope Francis passed away yesterday at the age of 88. Unbelievable. The first Latino-American Pope, and born in Argentina. Just seemed like an unbelievable man. He's got an unbelievable background. We're not going to get into it. Just, I'm Roman Catholic, so the Holy Father, rest in peace. And that was something, because he was in the Pope Mobile yesterday and then had a meeting with the Vice President, and lo and behold, the day after Easter, he passes away. So I know in St. Peter's Square, where I've had the privilege of actually witnessing a mass there back in 1984, when I was on a school trip under Pope John Paul II. It's one of the most unbelievable things I've ever got to witness in person. That was an outdoor mass too. But condolences to Pope Francis passing away at the age of 88. An absolute wonderful man by all accounts. But just wanted to get that out there right out of the gate, because that was one of the big stories. Right up there with Steve Austin almost running into a fan with his stupid SUV at WrestleMania, which I don't know why people continue to talk about. We'll get into that in a second. I want to say good morning to Angel Martinez. We got a lot to get into today. NBA playoffs. Lakers humiliated because they don't have a center. Everything I said about the Lakers is going to come to fruition. They're going to lose in 5. Celtics steamroll Orlando in the second half. And the Memphis Grizzlies are an embarrassment to the NBA. To show up or not show up and lose by 51 points, I don't care where you are, who you play, or who you played 2 days ago. An absolute embarrassment to the NBA for that performance yesterday. And the Cavs won by 21 over Miami. Was much harder than the score indicated. But anyway, we digress. And then Golden State, Steph Curry made like a couple of circus shots last night that were sick, and they go on to win in Houston. But with all that, Emma, we got some MLB stuff and a whole lot more. We say good morning to Angel Martinez up in Tampa. Hello, my friend. Good morning. How are you? How was your Easter?
Yeah, it was good, Pete. Nice and quiet, which was nice. We ended up going over to a nice establishment over in Hernando County. Enjoyed ourselves a fabulous cheesesteak, but other than that, was pretty good. And By the way, just to let everybody know, the Orioles are calling in their bat boy today, the front office, and possibly the maintenance department to pitch for their team.
Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to the highlights of that. I mean, that was it's unbelievable, 24-2. I mean, 24. Good Lord. And, the Cincinnati Reds just absolutely poured it on. Your Phillies lost a tough one yesterday. My Red Sox, after getting out to a lead, dropped one yesterday to the White Sox. They play this morning. It is Marathon Monday. I will make a prediction, Angel. I'm going to go out on a limb and say somebody from Kenya or Cambodia wins. That's just me. You know, you got to lay like 10 grand to win $1, because it certainly seems that way. It's unbelievable. I know people, our good friend Christopher Price from the Boston Globe, he's run the marathon. I think my buddy Steve Buckley has run the marathon. My old colleague Steve Diassi has run the marathon. I ran cross country my sophomore year for like half a season before I whacked my knee out. Running like between 9 and 12 miles a day, that was something we used to run in the morning and in the afternoon in practice. But it was to run the marathon, you got to be a little cuckoo. I mean, you really do. And I admire anybody who can do it, not just the one in Boston, the one in New York, obviously. It's an amazing accomplishment. Maybe just to even walk it, just to walk it. But just to train and you got to train for at least a year, and to sacrifice and do what a lot of these people do to run the marathon, you got to be a little cuckoo because it's the mental. I don't know how you do it. I really don't. So I commend everybody, and it looks like it's going to be really good weather as they start in Hopkinton this morning at I think 9:00, and it usually ends at Fenway down Boylston Street, right when the Red Sox are ready for first pitch today at 11:05 this morning. So as they close out their series with the White Sox. So, Angel, this was always like a special day. It was very hard to go to high school in Warwick on this day, be in Rhode Island, because Massachusetts had the day off. It's Patriots Day. It's a day off. It's a holiday in Massachusetts, and I believe in Maine as well. Of course, it signifies the Paul Revere. The British are coming thing. They call it Evacuation Day as well. But it was always special when I moved to Massachusetts and got to be there for a lot of these Patriot Day games. Of course, working at WEEI, we were there and do our show after the game because we were 2 to 6, and it was for many years we did that. Actually, a couple of times a lot of us took the day off so we could just enjoy the game and everything else. But it's a special day in the city of Boston today. There's no question about it. The marathon and the Red Sox, it's always special. So, and of course, everybody remembers what happened back in 2013. Not just the Red Sox came back and won the World Series, but of course the bombing that happened. That, ironically, Angel, is the last time, believe it or not, that I sat in the stands. Peanut Gallery and I were there that day in the stands. We left in the 7th inning. And we were going to walk to our friends on Boylston Street, where Elaine was working at Mass General Hospital, and she had friends in the triage department that were just there as a hospitality thing before all hell broke loose. But it's very hard. The way they block off all the roads and everything, and where we had parked, we're like, you know what, we'll just go downtown, grab a bite, and before we head home. Otherwise, we would have been right in the middle of it. And luckily, my friends that were working the triage for Mass General, they were all okay. Shook up, obviously, but all okay. I know one of my sister's dear friends, her niece she was part of it, and unfortunately lost her leg, but at least she didn't lose her life. And from what I understand, she's still doing very well now. But it was just it was surreal that day, and it was just to think about how close we were to just walking down there. Had the streets not been blocked the way they were, we would have been down there right in the middle of it. But I guess by the grace of God, we weren't. Other people, obviously, not so lucky. But it's something I'll never forget. Always remember it, and I'm sure there's going to be something today at Fenway before it, as always. And then It just was it was surreal that whole week. It was crazy. Anyway, good morning, Angel. Again, how are you? But just I wanted to get that out of the way because it's always you heard David Ortiz what he did, and that was I'll never forget that after the bomb. It was unbelievable, and the fuck came over the air on Nessa and everything else. Nothing didn't get bleeped out. This particular gut did. But it was, you still get goosebumps when you're watching it. Anyway, just wanted to throw that out there, get that, and make sure people don't forget what happened on that day.
Yep.
Never forget what happened on that day.
It's always important, no matter what, even though it was a marathon. But yeah, you can never forget the tragedy that unfolded in Boston. And it sucks because, again, it's some certain things you hear about it that people have some walking around with the backpacks. But yeah, it's timing. It's places where sometimes you don't need to be, and thank God for whatever odd reason, there's detours that end up happening. But I'm glad you and Elaine were fine along with others, and then there's other folks that lost their lives, limbs, like you had mentioned. So we just hope that everybody never forgets, just like 9/11, never forget that ever happened as well. So
Absolutely not.
yeah.
All right, let's get into the business. What a weekend! What a weekend of NBA playoffs, Stanley Cup playoffs are in action. Hey, the Maple Leafs. Hey, wow! Now I told you they're going to. It's just a matter of time. They always win a game one. It's going to be a dramatic Game 7 loss. We got another clip from Paul Bissonnette. These people, these Maple Leafs fans, until you show it in some way, shape, or form, much like the Red Sox had to before 2004, who cares? You won Game 1, 6-2 against Ottawa. Whoop-de-doo. Let's see you get out of the first round. There's a long way to go in this series, and I still contend they will lose in dramatic fashion. Celtics got an unbelievable performance last night from Derek White and Peyton Pritchard. And once again, the beauty of the Celtics is you don't need to have Brown and Tatum each have, 30 points, 40 points. This team is too freaking deep. Despite what you might have heard this morning on the national radio on ESPN, the Boston Celtics are the most complete team in the NBA, not the Oklahoma City Thunder, because they won by 51 over a Memphis team that felt like they didn't want to show up at all. An embarrassment to the NBA, one of the 7 worst losses in the history of the NBA in an opening round playoff game. And of course, the Lakers, because I've been talking about this since the Luka trade. And it doesn't matter. You have Jason Hayes as your center. It ain't going to happen. It's not going. You're not going to be able to get it done. And you saw what the Timberwolves did on Saturday night. Absolutely saw it with Edwards and Randall and McDaniel. They couldn't stop them. And nothing much is going to change. I picked Minnesota in 5, and I stand by it. You can't. The Lakers are not. And it cracks me up this morning again. They're talking about nationally like. It's the Lakers really were in a win-win situation. This is the rest of what happens is gravy. These are the same people that were saying the Lakers were going to steamroll to the NBA Finals for the last 2 months, and I'm like, now it's okay that they lost. Oh, okay, now it's okay because you see the truth that I've been speaking about for the last couple of months, and that team. And they're like, oh, it doesn't matter. They got Doncic for the future. Yeah, well, you don't have LeBron for the future. You don't know what he's going to do after this year or next year. Eventually, Father Time, as they say, will catch up to you. But now that the Timberwolves are healthy, that is a really good basketball team, okay? And that's why they're going to beat the Lakers. They're going to get bounced in the first round, I'm telling you. They're going to lose in 5. And it doesn't matter. Doncic and James combined for 56 points, 13 rebounds, and 3 assists. And you still lost by 22 at home, you frauds. Frauds! God almighty. Meanwhile, my team did what they had to do. Now, in the beginning of the game yesterday, Orlando, which is not a very good three-point shooting team, and they made a whole bunch of threes early on. And you knew that was going to change. Celtics were down by 1 at halftime. 9.5 minutes later, they were up by 17. Game over. Game over. We'll get to all the highlights in a little. There's some funny TNT shenanigans as well, Angel, as you might imagine. And obviously the NFL draft is coming up on Thursday. We're going to have some coverage for you because we got one of our own who's going to be at Lambeau Field for the draft. So that's going to be great. And Duncan Dad's going to be on with us on Thursday morning at some point. And then we're going to have our own mock draft. Right, Angel?
Yes. Yep. Duncan Ed's going to cover for us here for the Coastal Sports Network and Sports Radio. So he'll be up there starting Wednesday. We'll hear from Duncan Ed on Thursday. He'll also be there for his second round on Friday. And then we'll get a recap from him from over the weekend, the following Monday. But yes, we are covering the NFL draft. So Duncan Ed is going on behalf of the network, which should be really exciting and a really good time. And who knows what will happen tomorrow night as well, minus the draft when it comes to Tampa Bay Lightning. Maybe we'll be covering that as well, the first playoff game here at home.
Yes, no question. Tampa Bay and the Florida Panthers. And that is going to be, wow. If that doesn't go 7, I'll be shocked. I will be shocked. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. We got a lot of Stanley Cup playoffs, NBA, MLB. There's a lot to get to. We got a lot of audio and a lot of video. A couple things. Speaking of audio, in Boston, the Garden is just as bad now as any place else. If you're watching that game on ABC, and thank God the TNT crew has a game on Wednesday because it's just so hard to stomach ESPN stuff. It really is. Doris Burke I used to like a lot, and I don't know, and Richard Jefferson. It's just bad. Breen's okay, but it's just not. The worst part is the goddamn music is so loud. I've said this before. How many times, Angel, we had this discussion? I thought they were supposed to stop this at halftime, at half court. Once you cross the timeline, half court, you're supposed to shut everything down. You can't hear yourself. I'm watching the game. You can't hear the announcers. You can't hear anything they say. The music is blaring like at every other stadium. Orlando used to be the worst at doing this, and then there was a memo that came out from the NBA back in the day from David Stern, and I don't know what's happened in the NBA, but it is a turnoff to not. I mean, I got to lower the volume on my TV because you can't hear the announcers, and all you hear is the freaking music blaring all the way through. It's awful. It's awful. It's another thing. Can you imagine doing that at an MLB game, having music blaring through the whole game, or a hockey game, having music blaring through a whole hockey game?
Yeah, I
really don't. Or a football game. Imagine having the music blaring through the entire football game.
I didn't like it. One of the games I went to, it was the same exact way. Like I didn't like where it's overpowering everything whatsoever. Like you go to the game, you want to hear the sound of the court, the ball, what's going on, commentators, but not freaking blaring music where it's so deafening when you're sitting inside. It's like, really, do we really need this? But it's the NBA continuing to ruin the product.
I know. It sucks for the fan. Meter was there yesterday with his girlfriend, and I'm texting her. I'm like, because he texted me about the Celtics, first half, and I said to him, I texted him back. I said, "Don't worry." I said, "We got this." I said, "They're going to get steamrolled in the second half." So then he texted me back saying, "Good call, Pedro." I said, "Yeah." Now I said, How was the music and all that? He said it's ridiculous. He said it's ridiculous. You can't even hear yourself think. It's just insane.
It's just not a good look. It's just not. The NBA just continues to just do things in the most worst way possible and keep disconnecting with their fan base. I know a lot of people obviously love the NBA playoffs. And listen, everybody, what do you think about it, Pete? The only time you really watch NBA basketball is maybe the first 2 weeks. The All-Star game is a complete.
I watch a lot. I watch a lot of NBA. I don't like a lot of what they do, but I watch a lot because my team is the best team in the NBA, and I actually do enjoy. And I watch other teams as well, but I'm an exception for the rule. I try to do that because this is part of the job. Is you got to watch a lot of stuff, which I do. I watched every NBA game yesterday. If I'm not watching on my TV, it's on my laptop or it's on my phone. Same thing with the Stanley Cup playoffs. I mean. Not necessarily every second of every single game, but enough so I know what the hell I'm talking about. Unlike people who just blindly follow the Lakers and automatically put them in the finals without realizing matchup-wise with the Timberwolves, when you don't have a center, you're going to get your asses kicked. And they did. But anyway, continue.
No, but the average person, like your NBA fanatics, are always going to end up watching because they're just your automatic hoop heads who absolutely love the game. But as far as the NBA itself, it's just – most folks, first 2 weeks, they tune in. All-Star break, like I was saying, just became an absolute joke. And then everybody just waits for the end of season where it rolls around. Because that in-game tournament, I hope they dissolve that dumb thing.
No, they're not going to. They're not going to. They're not going to. They're not going to. The ratings are down. There's no question about it. Then you watch a team like Memphis. I mean, it's just embarrassing to lose by 51. I know OKC is going to win the series, but my God, that was just absolutely hideous. I want to get into all that in a second here, Angel. But another pet peeve of mine besides the music. I don't understand you wrestling people out there. And I don't understand how WWE, which is state, and look, they're all great athletes. I'm not saying anything negative towards the WWE. It's not my cup of tea. I don't give two shits about it. I don't care. Back in the day, yeah, I watched Hulk Hogan and some of that, but I wasn't like religious on Saturday. It would be I never paid for WrestleMania or any of that stuff. What I don't understand is why sports people, you want to have a podcast about it, that's fine. This is WWE breaking news. Is staged. Do people understand that? It is scripted weeks in advance of what is going to happen. Now, Steve Austin last night, Stone Cold, he narrowly avoided the disaster. I don't know if you saw this. Night 2 of WrestleMania 41 in Vegas. He arrives in Vegas at Allegiant Stadium. He arrives in an ATV. He's done that throughout his career. While cruising around the ring and doing multiple laps, he inadvertently drove into the front row barricade. He was about to slow down and nearly hit a woman standing at ringside. But I don't understand how sports people think this is a topic. You might as well go to a movie or a Broadway show and review the same thing. It's all staged. Who cares? It just doesn't. Now, if that woman had gotten seriously hurt, that would have been the story.
Right.
But you don't hear about a lot of people at Broadway shows getting run into by an ATV vehicle while they're watching the play, or the musical. I mean, for some reason, sports people, you want to do podcasts about it on the side, that's fine. Why do people want to make this into a story? Like people give a shit. It's staged. It has been staged from day one. They're all great athletes and they're all, phenomenal at what they do, but it's fake. It's fake. How does it become a story? Tell me how WWE becomes a story, a sports story. It's nothing more than a Broadway show. That's all it is. I seriously don't get it. I really don't. If that's your cup of tea and that's your form of entertainment, I got no problem with that. That's fine. And a lot of people do. Hey, boxing, mixed martial arts is not my cup of tea either. And those guys are great athletes too. Watching people beat the snot out of each other, especially the women, does not do it for me. I wish there was a better form of boxing available, but that's kind of gone down. But my bigger point is WWE is fake. Fake, 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 as Elaine Bennis once said on Seinfeld.
And then
but how this becomes a topic and people actually want to make this a segment on their sports shows as a topic. You're gonna break down. It's like breaking down a script for a movie or a Broadway show. Stupid.
And then they just acquired too that is it AA something wrestling? I don't know, whatever it was. They just
who cares?
I know, but that's the whole thing. It's every single one of them, whether it's AEW, whatever the other ones are. It's all staged. I hated it. Honest to God, when I was a kid, obviously I loved wrestling. Bob Backlund, Jimmy Snuka, Andre the Giant. It was absolutely terrific. And then when I saw the one special, it was staged. I'm like, are you kidding me? And then after that, I'm like, I lost interest. Done.
I was 7 or 8 years old. I'm like, this isn't real. You can tell. And I mean, it's great acting and they practice that stuff. And I just don't know why people make it a topic. And of course, I'm making it a topic here as to why to not make it a topic. There are other sports radio stations. I'm telling you, they're going to do whole segments on this. I'm doing it on why. Why? There is no rhyme or reason to incorporate this into the sports world because it isn't. It's just some big muscle guys jumping off ropes and a fake script. Remember we're back at Hulk Hogan and Randall Macho Man Savage and by the way, the funniest thing about Randy is I was doing a show one day. God, I can't remember where. All I know is I walked in past the producer. He had just got him on the phone, and he was doing. It wasn't my show. It was somebody else's, And I honestly didn't know it was him. He's like, oh, he's talking to the producers, like, oh, yeah, hi, I'm doing fine, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, okay, Randy, we're going to get ready to go, 10 seconds. And then he just went into Macho Man Savage mode, which was great, great. And remember, what was the girl? Remember the fight over the girl?
Yeah.
All staged.
Yeah, it is.
All staged.
McMahon, if
People think it's real. People thought it was real. Yeah.
Yeah, Jim McMahon is. You can say whatever you want to about the man, but he
Vince
knew.
McMahon, yeah.
Yep, he knew how to freaking write the script. He knows it. He's
that documentary, by the way, is unbelievable.
Oh, it is. Yeah, if you guys are not watching, check it out on Netflix. That thing is
he's crazy.
Yep,
he's absolutely crazy. Anywho, oh man. All right, now let's get into it. John Meade-Perella is going to join me up north, coming up at 9:05 today. We'll get his thoughts on him being at the Celtics game at the Garden yesterday, and also about Marathon Monday and all that stuff. Real simple. I want to just, Derek White was just unbelievable. Got some great video right here, Angel. If we could scroll down, it's like 4th down under Tomek Kordalewski, who covers the Celtics. And I just want to play. This is Derek White, both sides of the floor, unbelievable. Should be an all-defensive team, first team. He is amazing. Plus, his shooting, and you talk about unsung heroes. And again, this is why there's not a lot of other teams. Jason Tatum, okay, he had a little bit of an off shooting night before I thought he broke his wrist, thank God. He also had 14 rebounds and 4 assists. He also does a lot of things when he's not scoring that other players simply don't do. But the beauty about the Celtics is they do not need Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum on any given night to go off for 30. They got 5 other guys that can do it. It doesn't matter. Porzingis and Tatum didn't have the best shooting nights per se last night, but I mean, everything else they did on the floor was fantastic. All right, let's run it. Here's Derek White. Here's a Derek White highlight film from yesterday. Just awesome in the Celtics win.
Jaylen Brown. Brown sidestep, kicks it out. White, corner 3. That's good. Blocked from behind by Black. Brown gets the rebound. Porzingis up top to White. Long three-pointer. That's good.
Great shot by the Celtics, but where is the rest of the Orlando Magic?
Well, Banchero and Wagner now with 24 of the 28 points for Orlando. White wide open. Three-pointer's good. His 3rd three-pointer. And he's the Celtics' leading scorer with 11.
For 14.
Derek White tries to answer and does. White with 14 points here in the first half. He's 4 of 6 from 3.
His last 2 possessions.
And Carroll drive, shot blocked by White. Slapped it off the backboard. Holiday, nice feed inside. White gets bumped, banks it home. He thought a whistle should have happened. There was certainly contact there.
Timing. He can quick shoot somebody who's got more size.
Derek White puts it in. Three-pointer for White, his 5th three-pointer. And a whistle as well. White now with 18 points.
All right, there you go.
It's a simple dribble handoff.
Don't want to make the rest of the country jealous over this guy. He is absolutely amazing. What a night for the Celtics. What a day for the Celtics. And all you heard from me all day long in my house, because I forget the PA announcer's name. It's just, I just yell it. For 3! I got it down to a science.
I hope the Sixers are on the boat on the Schuylkill River out there in Philly and just watching what they can be someday.
They're not watching. They're not watching.
I know.
They're not. They're not watching. All right. Speaking of this, so after the game, Jaylen Brown. Oh, here's another great highlight. Here's Jaylen Brown. Listen to the scream after this dunk.
It out in the corner. Brown fakes. Couple of dribbles. Shot clock winding down. Pulls up. Jumper won't go. Pritchard once again keeps it alive. Brown on the drive. Gets to the rim. Peyton Pritchard gave the Celtics multiple opportunities. The smallest guy out there for the Six.
All right. Thanks to ESPN there. Here's Derek White after the game. Calls the Celtics second half a good response.
Derek, they sent a message in the first half. What message did you guys send in the second?
We didn't send no message. I mean, this is the playoffs. The game of runs and just a good response there in the second half.
You're known for your defense, so sometimes your offense can get overlooked. Just when Jalen and Jason, maybe their shots aren't falling, how does that change your mindset offensively?
I just try to stay aggressive. Obviously, they get a lot of attention, so whenever I got opportunity, I got to be ready to go and stay ready.
What's it feel like when you are in an offensive flow like you were tonight? 30 points, 7 threes made.
It's fun. My teammates do a great job of finding me and keeping me involved in offense, so it's a lot of fun when you got it going, and we got a long way to go.
Paolo Banchero couldn't do it alone, but he showed that he can be a problem. What do you guys need to do differently against him in game 2?
Yeah, he's an all-star for a reason. Got to go back and see how we can limit him a little bit, but he's an all-star for a reason, and we got to take the challenge.
Yeah, again, the first question was, the Magic sent a message in the first half. What the fuck? Are you serious? Because they had a 1-point lead because they made, for them, an ungodly amount of threes that they usually don't? That's not a message. It's ridiculous. Fucking fake news. They got blown out in the third quarter. That was it. The Celtics were up by 17 before you could blink in the third quarter. He had 30 points, Derek. Tatum had 17. Scary fall late. I actually thought he broke his wrist the way he fell. Thank God he didn't. And I didn't think it was. And to show you how objective I am, They changed the call to a flagrant 1. I didn't think it should have been. I thought it was 2 guys going up for a block, and it wasn't. He didn't hurt his wrist on the block. He hurt it when he braced himself on the fall as he was going up for a dunk.
Right.
But they changed it. They ended up missing both free throws, but it didn't matter because Celtics got the ball back, and I think he hit a 3 after that. But anyway, they win 103-86. So, yeah, I mean, the Magic are a nice little team. Banchero, Wagner, Caldwell. I mean, it's a nice little team. But they're done. I mean, they're done in 4 or 5. It's the next year, if they add a piece or 2, then they might be a formidable opponent. But they're not there yet. They have a couple of great, talented players, but the Celtics are just too deep. They don't need. You have Derek White going off for 30. Now, Wednesday night when they play game 2, he might have 4 points and 10 assists, and Tatum or Brown or Porzingis. I'm sure that Tatum and Porzingis had 5 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists. I promise you can triple that coming up on Wednesday. He was a little off, a couple of turnovers. And you could tell they hadn't played in a week, which they hadn't. It was a week that before, I know they had good practices last week by all accounts. But that's how deep they are. And Pritchard came in with 19 points. I mean, just absolutely on fire. Al Horford just had 5 points and 5 rebounds. But it's stuff that goes beyond the offense that is so impressive to me. They never quit on defense, Luka. By the way, go look at him in the second half of that game against Minnesota. Some of the Ole bullshit he had. I don't care if he scored 37 points. Once again, that the Lakers, because of their lack of defense and lack of center, are going to get bounced. They're going to get bounced in the first round by the Minnesota Timberwolves. You can mark it down. But between White, Tatum, Brown, Holiday, Porzingis, I mean, then with Horford, Pritchard, Hauser, Cornette even. I mean, Cornette is just, he's a fan favorite. He's another one. 2 point. It's his presence. Porzingis' presence. Do you see how many times yesterday he changed his shots? Because of he's so big, at 7'3", in that wingspan that he has. I mean, he is just unbelievable. So they got a plethora of guys that can carry them through. They don't need, and I'm not saying every game's going to be like this. I know there's probably going to be a game, at least in this series, where it comes down to the final possession. I have no doubt about that. That's just the way the NBA is. Maybe not in OKC's case, but because they play in Memphis. But look, it's just they have the depth that other teams simply don't have. And contrary to what they tell you on ESPN in the morning on the radio show, OKC is not the deepest and most complete team in the NBA. You saw the team that's the most complete and deepest yesterday. I'm telling you, if a couple of Oklahoma City stars don't score double digits, they don't win. You can't say that about the Celtics and Tatum and Brown, because they don't need to put up 40. Combined for 40. They don't need to do that. OKC does need to do that. Cleveland does need to do that. A lot of other teams need to do that. The Lakers have their 2 stars averaging combined around 45, 50 points, and you still lost by 22 at home. You know why? Because they don't have the depth. They just don't. And J.J. Redick's a joke. He's a joke. And I can't wait to hear his bullshit excuses after they get bounced in 4 or 5 games by the Timberwolves. I can't wait.
Does he get fired year one or does he quit year one?
Depends what LeBron wants.
Yep.
The only reason why he's there is because LeBron wanted him there. So we'll see. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we have TNT shenanigans. We got more NBA playoff highlights, Stanley Cup playoff highlights, MLB highlights, and a whole lot more. Here's the Pete Sheppard Show, the Monday after Easter here on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
Hey, everybody. It's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey. Why don't you take a minute?
When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can, making sure they're safe and comfortable. But it's just as important that you take some time for yourself. At AARP, we can help with information and useful tips on how you can maintain a healthy life balance, care for your own physical and mental well-being, and manage the challenges of caring for a loved one. Because the better care you take of yourself, the better care you can provide for your loved one.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you. You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
All right, class. Let's hear what everyone did this weekend. Jill?
Well, I raised my older sister to a big oak tree. It was at least 100 years old. My mom said I must have set a record or something. And then we went down by a stream and perched up on this huge rock and saw all these little minnows swimming around way below us. And then I rescued my little brother from an evil slug king who was guarding him at the bush fortress. And my sister and I brought him back to our super twig fort for safety. And then we all laid out and told stories until it got dark. And the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Awesome. Where were you, Jill?
Yeah. We went to the forest. It's not that far away. Anyone want to come this weekend?
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week and find the fun, adventurous you. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Don't spaz out because your team lost. Let Pete do it for you. Now, back to the Pete Sheppard Show. Pete Sheppard Show.
Caleb Houston gets inside, blocked from behind by Hauser, picked up by Horford. Horford back out, Pritchard, three-pointer, puts it in.
Celtics looking every bit the part of the defending champion. Responded to a physical, tough, resilient Orlando first half by putting the teeth into the defense. Defense turning to offense, scrambling possessions, and the always dangerous Pritchard, please.
A lot of alliteration for anxious angers put in powerful positions, as they said on broadcast news. Anyway, good job, Doris Burke there. Basically, Celtics were awesome. And talk about putting the clamp down. Yeah, they held Orlando to 86 points. God forbid they were down by a point at halftime. Did anybody really think Orlando was going to seriously make a run just by what? I mean, they just made a couple of threes that they normally don't make. And the Celtics had a couple of you could tell they were a little sloppy in the first half because they hadn't played in the week. Didn't surprise me at all. I thought the game in the first half would be within 5 points either way. But in the second half, they were down by 17, like 8.5 minutes in, meeting Orlando. Anyway, welcome back to the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network. Lots to talk about. As in Boston, it's a Marathon Monday, and the runners, I'm sure, are lining up in Hopkinton, getting ready to make the trek up 128 down to Boylston Street. And Heartbreak Hill, baby, Heartbreak Hill. Always where you separate the great ones from the good ones. Like I said, you got to be a cuckoo to run a marathon. I mean, seriously, I admire such admiration for the people that can absolutely do it. But it's...
I submitted your name, you and Luna, but apparently you guys decided not to go.
No, I didn't know. I absolutely was not going to go. Before we get into the NBA and the playoffs yesterday, I did because our last show last week was Wednesday. We were off last Thursday and Friday, and the Aaron Rodgers thing surfaced again. Not surprising at all. Jets didn't treat me fairly. They made me come cross country and tell me to fuck off. Why couldn't they have just done that by the phone? This is great. Aaron Rodgers on the McAfee show on Thursday talking about how he was how he was abused by the Jets.
You mentioned the Jets. What was that meeting like? We heard, isn't that where they said, hey, you can't come on Pat McAfee show?
No, but that was debunked later.
Oh, of course. But I'm saying, how was that meeting? You mentioned, we'll get back to this. Sounds like you want to talk about it. What was it?
You know, listen, that was an interesting 2 years, to say the least. But, you know, I figured that when I flew across country on my own dime, that there was going to be a conversation. And the confusing thing to me and the strange thing was, you know, when I went out there, I meet with the coach. We start talking. He runs out of the room. I'm like, that's kind of strange. I was like, then he comes back with the GM. And I'm like, all right. So we sit down in the office. And I think we're going to have this long conversation. I've flown across the country. And 20 seconds in, he goes, I mean, literally, I'm talking to the GM about something, and he leans to the edge of his sheet and goes, "So do you want to play football?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm interested." And he said, "We're going a different direction at quarterback." And I said, and I was kind of shocked. Now, not shocked because I didn't think that was a possibility. Listen, of course, they want to move on. That's totally fine. But shocked because I just flew across country. He could have told me this on the phone. If we weren't even going to have a conversation, and this is verbatim exactly how it happened. So I said, "Huh?"
I can't take it.
And he goes, "We just want to know how you want it released, the messaging." And I said, verbatim, "I don't give a about the message." And I said, "Why?" And then he said, "I don't want to be up in front of the room saying something and have guys looking back at you." And I said, "What does that even mean? Are you assuming that I would be in the back of the room during a team meeting undermining what you're saying?"
Yeah.
I said, "You don't know me." And he said, "You don't know me." And I said, "Exactly, which is why I flew across the country to have a face-to-face meeting with you to talk about my experience with the Jets and to hear your vision for the team."
Sorry.
20 seconds in. What I thought was going to be a couple-hour meeting turned into like a 15-minute meeting.
Sorry.
It'll be okay, Pete.
I need a minute. Why do these things happen to Aaron Rodgers? Why? Okay. Can you smell that bullshit coming through your devices? I mean, he has the audacity to say, "Well, what other guys in the back are going to be looking?" Yeah, because you were the coach and the GM, for Christ's sake, for 2 years. You got everything you wanted. They gave you all your binkies, and you still stuck up the joint. So did your horrific team.
But like,
my God, I mean, he's in la la land, baby. Good luck, Pittsburgh. Good luck, Mike Tomlin, if he ends up with you guys.
I hope not. I really hope not. But I just did he expect,
for our sake, I hope he does. It'll be a lot of fun.
But did he expect for the jet to go out there and be like, "I'm sorry, we're going to send you the private charter jet just to go pick you up"? No one told me.
I think he wanted to do it like by his, tell me by phone or Zooming. Now, if they had done that, if they had fired him, basically what they did, tell him to move on with it via Zoom call, he would have bitched and moaned about that. He would have said, "Why can't you tell me to my face?" It wouldn't matter how the Jets handled this situation. No matter what, Aaron Rodgers would have spun it that he, as usual, is the victim. That's what he does. And the Jets weren't going to have any of it anymore. I'm glad they did what they did. It's the first good thing they've done since they won the Super Bowl in '68. It may be the only good thing they've done. Bring in Rodgers and tell him to fuck off at the end. I love it.
You forgot to hit a Gordon Ramsay when you did it.
Well,
Wake up! Yes, sir. Wake up! Yes, sir. Couldn't finish the order, you lazy cow. I have a big fucking problem. Yes, I do.
Anyway, and that's and also that's the bottom line. It would not have mattered what the Jets have done. He could have gone piloting with Katy Perry again on the ride. Oh, I'm sorry, the astronauts.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers would have considered himself an astronaut. Alan Sheppard's got nothing on me. By the way, those four are out of their fucking minds.
Yeah.
I mean, they're loud. We played the clip last week, and it's a lot. They're nothing. But Aaron Rodgers it would not have mattered what the Jets done. They could have texted him. They could have told him by phone. They could have said, do a Zoom cast, whatever. They flew him in. No matter what, if they had done it, if he had not flown in, and he would have bitched and moaned about them not doing it face to face. He would have said, I would have flown in. If they would have just told me to my face, I would have flown. He would have said that. Trust me. I mean, the guy is so transparent. It is unbelievable. So narcissistic. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, Thoughts on that, anybody? It's 727-858-6650. Just unbelievable. The draft is coming up. So we're going to do our version of a mock draft. I'm going to confirm with Jay Flannelly, who'll join me tomorrow. But I want him on Thursday. Angel's going to be here. And the three of us will go and have our mock draft. And I guarantee you we'll have better results than Mel Kiper. or just as good as far as first-round picks go. So you have a little bit of homework. I'll make sure that we're not doubled up. I'll have the sheets. And we're just going to do the first round, just the first round. I'll make sure that Angel gets to choose the Eagles. I will choose for the Patriots, and then Jay can choose. He's a Patriot guy, but he can. We'll figure out. We'll figure it out. So it's a fair and equal system. Everybody gets at least a few picks. I'll keep track. We'll write them down, and then we'll see how. And usually it comes down to you get 4 or 5 right in the first round. If you get 4 or 5 right in the first round, trust me, you'll be up there with all the Mel Kipers and draft experts out there as well. So that'll be fun.
It will be.
That'll be fun. Of course, Duncan Dad's going to be up there. We'll have him on Thursday morning. He's going to be live at Lambeau Field, so that'll be fun. He'll set the scene for us here on the Pete Sheppard Show before the draft begins Thursday night at about 7:15, I think. Or 8 o'clock. I can't remember.
Yeah, 7 o'clock is when he started the band and playing, and I believe Brad Paisley is the one for the draft this year.
Okay. All right. Let's get into some of the NBA playoffs, and then we'll get to Stanley Cup stuff as well. OKC blows out Memphis yesterday, 131-80. An absolutely embarrassing moment for the Memphis Grizzlies. Here's Jay Morant on the blowout loss in Game 1.
Joe, what are you telling your guys after something like that?
They stink.
We'll never, play that bad again. They had a lot of easy looks, was pretty much getting to, wherever they wanted on the floor, and offensively taking care of the ball.
131-80. This was such an absolute disgrace. And I'm watching this while I'm watching the Red Sox. So I'm watching the Magic, and I'm watching the Grizzlies and the Thunder on my laptop, and it just didn't show up at all. Just didn't show up at all. Morant had 17 points and 3 boards to lead, and it was all Thunder. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he didn't have a great shooting night either, by the way, but they still won. He had 15 points, 3 and 5. But, they had 6 guys, I think, in double figures. Just an absolute debacle. Absolute debacle for the Memphis Grizzlies. An embarrassing, one of the worst losses in the history of the first round of the NBA. To just do that to the fans and not even bother, I think it's absolutely disgraceful. We played enough highlights with the Celtics, 103-86 win over Orlando. Game 2 is Wednesday night at the Garden. By the way, if you're wondering why the Lakers aren't playing tonight, because everybody else, the Knicks and the Pistons are playing tonight, along with the Clippers in Denver. They played on Saturday, and people are like, why aren't they playing tonight? They're not playing tonight because the Kings have the building. The Kings have a home playoff game against Edmonton, so that's why. Cleveland beat Miami 121-100, but it wasn't as easy as the score looked. But Donovan Mitchell.
It's about empowering your teammates and playing a little defense at that. Right here, Donovan Mitchell denying Mitchell on Mitchell crime the ball back, slamming it home.
Yeah, that's so fucking awful. I don't know who was doing that on TNT, but that's horrible. Horrible. It's just
Mitchell
better than that. Come on. Okay. That's awful. Golden State, I don't know if it shocked Houston, but the score 95-85, very low scoring game. Steph Curry was ridiculous.
Post to Curry. Thompson comes out on Curry. 3. Bullseye.
No way. I mean, that's twice. Shot clock running down. Hands full trying to keep Steven Adams. Look at the shot clock running down. Stephen Curry with his 4th made. Over here smiling. And then Thompson in his grill. CJ Stroud.
He's going, oh my.
All right, that was 72-66. That's a real broadcast crew. Kevin Harlan and Reggie Miller on TNT. But Steph was not done. That was in the third quarter. They made it 72-62. But Steph was not done.
It's a Curry 3. Ring it up.
with a triple. He's having wars over here. Shot clock at 6. Curry just runs into a 30-footer. Just think about that.
Just about half court. Just a ridiculous shot. And Curry finished with 31 points, 6 boards, 3 assists. Jimmy Butler, outstanding as well, playing with a chip on his shoulder. Playoff Jimmy is always a good play. Is good Jimmy. 25 boards, 7 rebounds, 6 assists as well. And the Warriors go on to win by a score of 95-85. Meanwhile, so that's it for the NBA. I want to get to the NHL as well. Then we'll get to baseball also. The Toronto Maple Leafs not finally. They win games in the playoffs. They just don't win series in the playoffs. But they got off to a good start yesterday. Let's begin, though, first with Carolina and New Jersey.
Meyer off the stick from Sheffield. Beyond Mercer, collected by Carolina. Lob to the line. Grant stopped it. Ripped away by Svechnikov. On the move. Empty net for Svechnikov.
Carolina beats New Jersey 4-1. It still sucks that my Bruins, and to a degree, or Philadelphia Flyers, not in the postseason. Can't stand it. Trevor, what up? What up? Good morning. Happy Marathon Day. Yes, it is. Toronto and Ottawa. So Carolina wins 4-1. Toronto and Ottawa went at it yesterday as well.
Power play goals in the game. Started with a face-off win by Tavares. It's loose in front. Nice there. Scores. The hand's okay. And it's a power play goal for Matthew Nyes.
Chris, I can't think of a game where you get power play goals 9 seconds, 3 seconds, and 8 seconds. And again, it's a face-off win in the same mindset as we saw that first one. No delay on the shot off the body of Matthew Nyes. Great job of Austin Matthews coming down from his position. Just chips it to the front. Nyes spins off, and there's...
All right, that might be the best highlight there for the Maple Leafs in the series, I'm telling you. But we could scroll down, Angel, to our good friend Paul Bissonnette over on TNT. For some reason, I guess some of the Ottawa people were upset at officials. I mean, everybody gets upset at officials every single game. But here's Paul's another delusional take about the Maple Leafs because they won one game, 6-2 at home against Ottawa.
Oh, boy.
Hello.
It's creepy. This is creepy.
I'm not going to let them ruin our night. I was going to talk tomorrow, but hey. Just electrolytes. Don't get too excited. What a W. Oh, my God. All hands on deck. Where do we begin? Stolars, baby. You made me a little nervous in the first after giving up the shaky one, brother, but
you should be nervous.
Did you settle in nicely? And not without credit to the back end. To a man, great box outs. They were pretty clean on the breakouts most of the night. 2 goals from the fucking D-man. Morgan Riley, playoff Morgan Riley. Hey, that's the confidence he needed early. And Oliver jumping in the rush there. Scotty Latin. Oh, man, he's going to pay dividends down the run here. Bottom 6, incredible. Thought Robertson was noticeable. McCann, Jesus Christ. Smoke another one. The core 4. That's how we fucking do, baby. All of them chipping in. Oh, what a fucking performance that was. Nyes in front. Come on. That guy's money. They couldn't box him out now, could they? So let them be undisciplined. Let them lose their heads. Remember, they're the virgins. The playoff virgins. We're taking the V card, maybe in 4 games now. It was bullshit. They were out there to hurt guys towards the end. They were trying to flex their muscles. We're not intimidated by that bullshit. We got our own guys. And even, Max Domi, he kept his head at the end there. And Chief, that's the message that he sent through the locker room. Calmer heads prevail. We know what the fuck we're doing, boys. Our year. Great one. That's one. Don't let them ruin our night.
Oh, Paul.
Wait till we have this conversation next week. I'm telling you, we're going to be sitting here. That series is going to be tied at 3. He's going to be doing poopy pants. By the way, Max Domi is a very good player. Now, his father, Ty, was an asshole of a goon. And, I mean, he really was the epitome of that. He was a jerk. And but thank God his son could actually put the puck in the net. But come on, Paul. It's one game from a team that has a long history of not being able to get out of the first round. And even from 2006 to 2016, you only made the playoffs once. Trevor says Hurricanes and Devils throw that game on Metro traffic and weather. Yeah, exactly. Vegas and Minnesota last night as well in a late game.
Bouillon with a good shot there from the point out here with the top line for the offensive zone draw.
Bogosian to Bouillon. That long wrister deflected just wide. Eriksson Ek, it looked like got a piece of that shot as Bouillon shot for his stick. Howden moves in, shoots, score!
Thanks for ESPN with a call, and then that was in the third period. This is late in the third period.
The Wild need a miracle. The draw loose. Kaprizov throws one cross corner. Spurgeon looks to center. Eriksson Ek has it. 2 seconds to go. Towards the empty net. Just before the buzzer, Howden sends it all the way down. One way or the other, this will be a Game 1 win for the Vegas Golden Knights.
They played a great game. We take a look to see if this one counts or not.
Wow, close. It's just for bookkeeping purposes.
That's all that is.
Yeah, and it did count, and the 4-2 final there in the end. Before we go to break, and then we're going to do a lot of baseball. I still have a lot of video I want to play. John Meade-Perrell coming up at 9:05 this morning. We'll set the scene up there. If he's not in Hopkinton. He's not driving down there for the start of the marathon, which I believe gets underway, I think, at 9 o'clock. I believe at 9 o'clock.
No, but for some reason, we start at 7.
Yeah, just a little a snippet of what is to come for some of the NBA on TNT shenanigans. If you refresh, Angel, it should be the first one right under the show. And Chuck is not impressed by Shaq's promo work. So we got a lot more where this came from coming up next hour.
Shaq, I'm going to put some pressure on you, man.
Well, let's do it.
All right, you want to read this promo?
Yeah, bring it a little closer.
A little closer.
Yeah.
All right. The anticipation building.
Ready?
Yeah.
Looking for some soccer action? How about 32 teams in 11 cities vying for the title of the best club soccer team in the world? The inaugural FIFA Club World Cup begins June 14th on TNT and streams on DAZN or DAZN. Magic Celtics highlights and score. Roll the tape. Not entertained.
That was outstanding.
That was good up until there. We got 4 degrees.
Outstanding.
You want to try it, Chuck? No. You happy you know how to read? Yeah.
Shaq, I'm going to put some pressure on you, man.
Well, let's do it.
All right. Phil Castanetti, Sports World in Saugus, Massachusetts, is New England's place to buy or sell the finest in sports memorabilia. For over 35 years, Sports World has offered the finest in sports collectibles. So head on down there to Phil Castanetti, Sports World at 184 Broadway in Saugus. Call 781-233-7222 for more information. Sports World in Saugus. Be there. More TNT, NBA and TNT shenanigans and a whole baseball rundown as well coming up next here on the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
Hey, everybody, it's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, implement and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them, sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I gotta tell you, I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too, but I'm glad we are.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and life experiences come together through conversation, and it feels good.
Wow, your story is so...
Interesting?
Yeah.
When people actually sit down, talk, and listen to one another, they can break down boundaries and connect as human beings. At lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep, you can listen to amazing, life-changing conversations and find simple tools to start a conversation of your own.
I know one thing. This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together by having the courage to start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Whoa! Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Woohoo! Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie. So, wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
The Pete Sheppard Show. It's fun for the whole family, if it's dysfunctional.
Marte 3 hits, 2 ribbies and double has scored a run. High fly down the left field line. Laureano going way back. And that is gone. A grand slam by Noelvi Marte. The Reds have thundered 20 runs.
Wow. Reds now have 3 batters with 4 hits today.
And they weren't done. They tacked on 4 more. 24-2 was the final in that game. Now, you may not believe it, against the Cincinnati Reds, put up 24 in the Baltimore Orioles yesterday. This is in the top of the third. This game was tied at 1 until Ellie De La Cruz got a hold of it.
Ellie De La Cruz, he leads off in the third. Well hit. Cranked to right center. De La Cruz has the Reds ahead. A leadoff homer in the third. It's 2-1. Number 5 for De La Cruz.
It's Ellie Day in Baltimore. That's why you don't pitch him up. Because if he does hit it, it's not coming back.
It just was. It was 2-1. I mean, it was a respectable game in the third inning until it wasn't. And then this guy, what a day for Austin Wynns.
High fly, deep left center. Against his former team, the best day of his life.
Oh my goodness.
Austin Wynns has 6 hits.
What? 6?
And he finishes with a 3-run jack. Oh my goodness. He's buying dinner.
Let's play one more.
Years ago made one. Rutschman to right field. That ball is crushed. And that is a much-needed swing for Adley Rutschman. 0 for 19 coming into today. He's got a 2-hit game and his 4th home run of the season.
That made the score 20-2. That was Baltimore's last run. 20-2. That was in the bottom of the 8th inning. Oh my goodness, that was something yesterday. It really was. All right, continuing. By the way, thanks everybody for checking out hour number 2 here on the Pete Sheppard Show on the Coastal Sports Network. Following me on Twitter X at PShep326, on CSN Florida, YouTube, Rumble, Kick, LinkedIn. Our Facebook page is, of course, the awesome SR1029 The Game app. I suggest you download it. Call or text the show 727-858-6650. Arizona and the Cubs in a tight one.
Yeah. Fair ball down the line. It caroms off the seats out there. Domo coming home. Naylor has his 3rd hit today, and it's 3-2 Diamondbacks.
Don't stop now. Push across that second run somehow in this inning. Oh, down and in right where Josh likes him. He rips it right down the stripe.
That's Naylor's 2nd RBI hit today. He hit the single in the 4th that tied it up 1-1. His 3rd hit today, 3 for 5.
Arizona TV Network there. Final 3-2 in 11 innings. Arizona wins. The Red Sox and the Red Sox yesterday at Fenway. Tough one for the Red Sox. They had won 5 in a row. They got off to a good start here. This in the bottom of the 1st inning. Down 2-0.
High flying ball right field. Let's see if this one carries. Palacios backing up. Backing up. Yes. It happened again. 3-run homer. Wilyer Abreu, his 4th of the year. Now hit it to right, boys. He'll keep on going and going.
Thanks to Dave O'Brien, Lou Merloni on that. Earlier in the 1st inning, here's what happened. Here's Tanner Houck pitching, and the wind blowing from left to right. If you saw the center field flags before the game at Fenway, gusting towards right field, left to right. Here's how the White Sox got on the board first.
It's over for Narvaez, who caught the first 2.
Dice. They drive to right field. Abreu drifting back. The wind is carrying, and it carries it out. It just kept going and going. First home run of the season for Matt Thaiss. And the White Sox take a 2-0 lead in the 1st.
Edgar Caro had a 2-run go-ahead single at the top of the 7th, put the White Sox up 5-4, and then they kind of sealed it in the top of the 8th.
Paul with a drive to left field, attacking the monster up at the wall, and it is
Andrew Vaughn, his 3rd home run of the season. A 2-run shot here in this 8th inning, and the White Sox take a 7-4 lead.
Yep, Red Sox will go at it again today. Patriots Day, you know, that means an 11-10 start at Fenway Park. So Red Sox trying to win 3 out of 4 in the series. The White Sox obviously trying to split the series. Red Sox are a huge minus 325 favorite. Walker Buehler pitching today. Minus 325. Too much. Way too much. Cleveland and Pittsburgh played in a tight one yesterday as well. God damn it.
High in the air. Left field. Tommy Pham backing up. He'll make the catch. Tagging his Big Christmas, and he'll come home and score, and the Guardians take the lead back 5-4. Give Manzardo his 3rd run batted in of the afternoon.
Well, he got a ball out over the plate, and he was just thinking of going that way. Put it in the air, their 15th sacrifice fly. Gets that run home.
Team leading 16th RBI for Manzardo.
Cleveland wins 5-4, but early on in the game, Pirates fans had this to say. Salvati.
One ball, one strike. And Manzardo homered leading off the 7th.
Sportsnet they cut the crowd mic. That's how bad it was yesterday. I can't wait for Paul Skeens to play for the Red Sox or somebody that's good. You know, I can't wait. It's just a matter of time. Just a matter of time while he gets wasted away in that pathetic organization. It's such a shame because that ballpark is awesome. It really is. The fans are great in Pittsburgh. It's got nothing to do with them. That ownership is a fucking joke. Meanwhile, Miami and Philadelphia in a thriller. Bryce Harper, though, got it going for the Phillies in the bottom of the 1st inning.
Line drive out to right center field. That's going to split the gap and go to the Hatfield sign. 2 runs will score. 2-run double for Harper. His 4th of the year. The Phillies take a 2-0 lead. Boy, he is seeing the ball well. They're seeing the ball well.
Yes. You said it, Cole. I mean, this is a little cutter or sweeper that stays in the middle of the zone, and he just takes a beautiful rip at it.
All right, that made it 2-0 Phillies in the bottom of the 1st, thanks to NBC Sports Network there. Let's move ahead to the top of the 8th inning, shall we?
He loves going to the slider.
There's a fly ball in the air, left field. Kepler looking up! Kepler looking up! Goodbye! Home run! Javier Sanoja! A 3-run go-ahead homer here in the 8th.
You're looking at the numbers, you know that Kerkering loves to throw the slider. He will throw it, wants to get it, wants to strike out on that pitch. Guarantee you that Sanoja knew the same exact thing.
Sanoja says aloha, Angel. All right, that made it 5-4 in the top of the 8th inning, and here comes Philadelphia right back in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Here to give it out. 2-2. Ground ball back toward the middle. It's bobbled for a moment by Lopez. Safe at first. The Phillies tie it up. Castellanos scores.
Wow, 2 bobbles here by Otto Lopez, and that benefits the Phillies. That's huge. This is a play that would have been a tough play to make, but I'm surprised he didn't go to the backhand.
I'm with you.
Then we move on to extra innings, top of the 10th.
There's a swing and a fly ball in the air to right field. Castellanos is backing up. Norby will tag from 3rd. He'll tag. He's going to score a sacrifice fly for Kyle Stowers. So the Marlins cash in on the place runner here in the 10th, and they lead 6-5.
Nice job there by
the proverbial insurance run.
That's in the 10th. The 3-2 pitch to Sanoja. That's a ground ball up the middle of the base hit. Sanoja's going to wave him home all by himself. That is a huge hit. It's the Javier Sanoja game here in Philly today.
How about a 5 RBI game for Javier Sanoja? My goodness.
Hell of a game. That's a final 7-5 in 10 innings thanks to FanDuel Sports Network there. Atlanta and Minnesota went at it as well yesterday.
And Drake down the left field line. It's gone. His first homer at Truist Park. And it puts Atlanta on top 5-0.
This is special from Drake Baldwin. Opposite field power twice now from a 24-year-old rookie. Tells you that this guy has staying power and that this is for real.
Yep, Marcell Ozuna got into the act as well. The home run made it 5-0 Braves in the third. Marcell Ozuna.
Deep to left. A big flop for the Big Bear. 6-1 Atlanta. Third homer today for the Braves off of Joe Ryan.
We were talking about that momentum shift, and it almost got away from the Braves. Grant Holmes did a really nice job to make sure it didn't happen, and now it goes back in the other direction. Two-seam fastball at 90 miles an hour. You can't go into Marcell, not with that velo, as he pulls the hands in and hits that line drive.
That made it 6-1. Atlanta sweeps the series. They beat Minnesota 6-2. Matt Olson, the home run they were talking about, had a 2-run shot for the Braves back in the bottom of the first inning. Seattle and Toronto. Here comes Cal. No, the other one.
Crushed. This ball is blasted, and it might keep going. Off the facade of the second deck. Cal Raleigh doing damage. They will not let him back. His 11th career home run against these Blue Jays, and he has just tortured this team north of the border.
Just getting ready to say he had 6 home runs and 10 RBIs over his last 8 games.
All right, that made it 3-0. Seattle in the top of the first, but Seattle wasn't done. Let's head to the 7th.
Rowdy out to right field. Rowdy to Les. He has done it once again. Homering in every game here in Toronto. It's a pinch hit 2-run blast and extends the Mariners' lead in the 7th inning.
How about that? A Mariners fan collecting that baseball. It's Rowdy's 18th home run here at Rogers Center. We talked about them escorting Cal.
All right, Seattle wins 8-3. Kansas City and Detroit also went extra innings.
Bobby extended his hitting streak to 13 in the 5th inning, and then he reached on an error leading off the 8th. Now he has a chance to put the Royals in front. In the air to left field. Waters tags. Green throws. And the Royals take the lead.
Okay, beautifully done. Now the Royals, they've got to get back to expecting to score runs and beating teams, and that's exactly what you want to do. Junior's able to get just enough of it to get him home.
Kansas City again, that was the game-winning, turned out to be the game-winning RBI. Kansas City by Bobby Witt Jr. Who else? Kansas City wins over Detroit 4-3. Yankees blank Tampa Bay, but not before some controversy, which we'll get to in a second. Yankees got it going early in the first.
For hitters.
High fly ball, right field, Mangum back, drive, ball, see ya! A game-opening home run for the red-hot Grisham.
All right, that made it 1-0. Top of the first. Let's head to the top of the 6th inning, 5th inning.
Driven deep to right field off the bat of Bellinger. There it goes! See ya! A home run for Cody Bellinger, and the Yankees lead 3-0.
And then to the 9th we go, thanks to the Yes Network.
Driven out to left field. Going back Morrell. Going back. Looking up. See ya. A home run the other way for Wells. Showing Oppo power. 4-0 Yanks.
Well, the big story in this game is Max Fried had a no-hitter, and then he didn't have a no-hitter. And I'll explain further in a second here. But if we could, Angel, and I might have to scroll down a bit here. Let's hear the, it's just a couple down. Yankees Broadcasting, Yes Network. We'll tell you. You see it? It's right. No, it's way. It's right under the show. It's 2 down.
Yeah. Oh.
Fox Sports MLB.
All right.
You see the line, and no, you didn't miss a batter. I am absolutely flabbergasted, ladies and gentlemen. The official scorer here at Steinbrenner Field, a man by the name of Bill Matthews, has changed the Simpson E3 into a hit while the Yankees are in the dugout. Just unfathomable. Either you call it when it happens, you don't wait 3 innings to go by. It's just unbelievable. And there is Bill Matthews, and he's going to have a lot of questions thrown at him, and he's going to have to give some pretty good answers, because I can't believe that this just happened. You see the line, and
look, this has happened many times in Major League Baseball, and I understand it. This is not the first time it's happened, and it won't be the last time it's happened. I remember Wade Boggs throwing a fit about different. I mean, this has just happened. A free pitch, great. 7 2/3, just allowed 2 hits, walked 2, struck out 2. Now, what the controversy happened was Chandler Simpson, who's a very fast rookie, grounded into the hole between first and second, 1 out in the 6th inning, and reached when the ball bounced off the glove of first baseman Paul Goldschmidt. And as you just heard Michael Kay say, Bill Matthews at first called the play an error. Well, first of all, the play should have been called a hit immediately. When you go and you see the replay, he was not going to get thrown out. So initially, the play should have been signaled a hit and not an error. The fact that they changed it, I'm not surprised. I think it should have been changed. And it's surprising me when announcers say, "Oh, well, you can't wait that long." They waited longer before. I've seen them change calls the next day. The only reason why this got all the pub it did is because there was a no-hit bid, which I understand. But there's no way that ball was going to be fielded properly. It should have been ruled a hit right out of the gate. Anyway, the Yankees win, unfortunately, 4-0. Mets and St. Louis went at it as well yesterday.
Lindor has 2 career home runs against Gray.
And that's in the air to deep right field. Back goes Walker near the wall. It's out of here. Francisco Lindor strikes again, and it's 1-0 New York. 22nd career leadoff home run for Francisco Lindor, his 2nd this season. And the Mets jump out to an instant lead.
Basically, there was the same pitch, Ronnie, just about, that Fernandez threw the game winner to Lindor the other night.
Keith Hernandez right there, and SNY. Gary Cohn as well was 1-0. Let's head to the bottom of the 8th. And Angel, not solo, but Soto. Ha, ha, ha.
Taylor at third, Lindor at first, 2-2 to Soto. Lindor runs, and Soto hits it toward the gap in left center. Ciani on the run. He won't get there. It's up against the wall. Taylor is in. Here comes Lindor. He's in to score. Soto breaks it open with a 2-run double, and it's 7-3 New York. A 3 RBI day for Juan Soto. And the Mets have scored 3 times in the bottom of the 8th to build a 4-run lead.
Oh. That's my job without impersonation, by the way, for Solo. All right, Milwaukee and the Athletics, and this was another blowout as well, mostly by the Brewers. This puts them up 6-0.
This one out towards left, and it is going to be up and gone for Rhys Hoskins. Another home run on this homestand, his 3rd.
Rhys puts a charge into this one. 101 off the bat, 366 feet, just sneaks over the wall. It's an elevated fastball. He turns on it, he hooks it, and he got enough of it.
Really finding his swing on this homestand.
All right, that put the Milwaukee Brewers up 5-0 in the bottom of the 2nd. They go on to clobber the Oakland A's by a score of 14-1. Dodgers blank Texas 1-0. They also activated Shohei Ohtani. Washington over Colorado 3-2 in Game 1. In Game 2, Colorado came back.
Zach Veen takes way inside, ball 1. Down just 3 runs. You saw what happened yesterday. This ball high and deep to right. Take a good look. You won't see it for long. First career home run for Zach Veen. Boy, was that a pretty swing. Woo! That got out in a hurry. He can do that. We saw that on a couple of occasions during spring training. And maybe that gets Zach Veen going.
Yep, and that was the only runs that Colorado scored. They won the game 3-1 in Game 2, so they split the doubleheader. The Angels and San Fran went at it as well.
Up, it's a high fly ball, deep center field. Adele back at the wall. He leaps,
And it is out of here. Called by first base umpire Mike Estabrook, and the Giants take the lead. Ron Washington's going to talk to the umpires to make sure they got this right. But Huff, who's got power, got into one.
Yep, they got it right, all right. But how about this play in the bottom of the 6th inning by the Giants, Jung-Hoo Lee?
Line drive center field, coming in and sliding, and he made the catch. Verlander raises his right arm and says, "Thank you very much."
A 3-2 count. He's got a 2-run lead. He's got to make Renifo swing the bat, and this is a bullet right straight, dead center. And look at the jump and the straight line of the ball. And for Jung-Hoo Lee, he had to be perfect.
All right, let's head to the bottom of the 9th inning. The Angels are trailing. So you know what's going to happen here. I wouldn't play the cut.
Trying to win this series. And Adele lines it. It's fair down the left field line. Soler scores. Newman scores. Here comes Neto. The winning run on the way. The relay. He is safe. A giant comeback. And the Angels win it 5-4.
What a swing there. He's hit breaking balls exceptionally well.
And Joe Adele drives in 3 to win it.
Yes, he did. 5-4. The Angels win there. And finally, San Diego and Houston last night.
He sends another one to deep center. Can Myers get to this one? No, he can't. Touch of all time again for Fernando Tatis. His 8th of the year, and the Padres get a late clutch home run by the superstar Tatis.
That's exactly what he is. And this could be just the prelude of the year of Fernando Tatis Jr.
Yes, 3-2. The final there, San Diego wins. Okay, take a break in a minute here, but I want to get some more NBA and TNT shenanigans as well. We got Turner How Cut I want to play for you as well. Let's scroll down NBA and TNT and talk about Chuck's diet, or possibly going on a diet.
Oh boy, this should be good.
Time out. What is a diet?
Time out.
Kenny,
what is a diet?
Take a shot once a week?
That's not a diet.
Yes, I'm taking a shot.
That's not a diet.
I need somebody to teach me how to do the shot, though. Any nurses around here?
A diet.
I can show you how to do that. I've done other ones.
When you change your eating habits.
Because it comes in a little vial.
I've done it for different reasons. I've done it with a blood thinner before.
Yeah.
Piece of cake.
Oh, but how do you get it? I got to get it in the syringe.
Listen,
it's already in the syringe.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
That's the thing.
It should be.
No, it's not. That's why I'm going with. Y'all go to Rural Health and come join me on this fat journey.
Anyway, you're on your own on that one.
You ain't going
Magic
on
and Celtics.
Cheating. That's what you're doing. I'm not cheating.
That's cheating.
Going to see a doctor ain't cheating. Yeah, stop eating that fried chicken, cheater.
Yeah, you can't eat fried chicken and just take a shot.
You know you can.
Apparently you can.
That theory.
And then wash it down with a bottle of syrup. Time out.
All right. By the way, look, I take Mounjaro once a week as well for my type 2 diabetes. And it's in this, it just takes 2 seconds to inject it. It's there. I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
All those diabetic medications or whatever, and they're all pre-prepared. Just some of them you have to keep refrigerated.
Now, maybe he thinks about the, what's that other company, Hims? So maybe he's thinking that way. I don't know.
Maybe.
Something.
I don't know. All right. If we could scroll right under that, Chuck made his first guarantee yesterday as well. So he's going undefeated on his NBA playoff parlays.
Jeez. Right. I'll get to Bill's comment here right after this.
Guarantee.
Would you like to guarantee your action tonight?
This is dangerous. I know I work with some fools.
It always is.
I'm going to win tonight. I'm going undefeated. Guarantee it.
Guarantee
Oh, it's the old ping pong balls in the Raptors routine.
This never gets old. Y'all saw him hit me. This never gets old. Come on. Y'all hurt me, man. Guarantee.
Would you like to guarantee your?
Yeah, I'll say. And of course, first time I ever saw a bunch of ping pong balls fall on somebody, Angel, dating myself, or of course, Captain Kangaroo back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
It used to happen all the time with Mr. Moose and Bunny Rabbit. Bill says, morning, Pete and Angel. It's Patriots Day in Boston with people in Red Sox gear and drinking on the commuter rail at 7 a.m. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
been there, done that. So, yes, we did mention it, the start of the marathon in about 20 minutes or so down in Hopkinton. And it's always a special day in Boston for this. And, of course, Boston strong, and just never forget what happened in 2013. We'll get to that video in a second. Now, if we scroll underneath that one, Angel, another TNT, Chuck, the last one, NBA on TNT, Chuck, about a couple of trophies. Yeah, that one right there.
Boy.
How about for the defensive player of the year?
Oh, you sure you don't want to read this? You will.
This is appropriate because it's the Akeem Olajuwon trophy.
Akeem Olajuwon trophy. Yeah, the guy who got you your 2 trophies. Oh, who got you yours?
You just bringing him water. you just bought him water when he got.
No name.
You just bought him water during the Ramadan.
Silence. Silence is golden. Silence is golden. Yeah. Who helped you win the championship?
Nobody.
Thank you. All right.
How about for the defensive?
Oh, Angela, and before I go to break, if we could scroll up just a little bit to Nesson, 12 years ago today, and this was obviously yesterday from Nesson, but it was Big Papi's words that's still giving us big chills. And this was right after, a couple of days after the marathon bombing back in the day, 12 years ago yesterday.
Right.
This jersey that we wear today, it doesn't say Red Sox. It say Boston. This is our city. And nobody gonna dictate our freedom. Stay strong. Thank you.
The unforgettable Big Papi in 2013 after the marathon bombing here at Fenway Park. Still gives you chills. And Red Sox are going to wear those same jerseys tomorrow.
Yeah. Always a good day. Papi said that. Pretty sure everybody just sort of looked at each other going, did he just?
Did he just? Yeah. And as Campbell takes a strike, yeah, he did. And then I remember somebody called the commissioner of the Federal Communications Commission, said, can he do that? And she said, yes, he can.
And I'll never forget that, because that was a Fox game on Saturday. I was at my buddy Ron's house, and about 6 of us, getting ready to watch it. The Red Sox were really good that year. Obviously, they went on to win the World Series, but we did not see that coming. And that fuck came over as clear as day. Over Nesson, and technically you can do that because it's cable. That's why McAfee gets away. But it was bone chilling. I think we replayed it about 20 times before the game even started. It was just absolutely unbelievable. All right, quick break. When we come back, going to do something I haven't done in a while, Angel. Do a This Day in Sports History segment, and as well as a couple of other videos, some other stories as well. Actually, going to get into before when we come out of the break, what is going on with Nico Iamaleava, who's, how about you like that? Nailed it. Who's headed officially now to UCLA. It's official. We talked about it last Wednesday. It was about to happen, and it has gained. And now it's official. Read you his statement, and we'll get into some sports history as well on this day. All part of the Pete Sheppard Show. The John Meter Perrell at 9:05 on the Pete Sheppard Show on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
Hey, everybody. It's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Okay, men, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. I know you won't, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Don't spaz out because your team lost. Let Pete do it for you. Now, back to the Pete Sheppard Show.
Put out the corner, Brown fakes.
couple of dribbles. Shot clock winding down. Pulls up. Jumper won't go. Pritchard once again keeps it alive. Brown on the drive. Gets to the rim. Peyton Pritchard gave the Celtics multiple opportunities. The smallest guy out there for the Sixers.
Yeah, welcome back. How about that talk up? Little Tubes. She's a beauty. Sorry. Well, back in this Pete Sheppard show here. It's Monday. Hope everybody had a happy Passover, happy Easter. Unfortunately, Pope Francis died this morning at 88 years old. So we mourn his death. And great man, absolute great man. First Latino-American Pope as well. And just a tremendous human being. Did a lot of things. First Jesuit Pope, by the way. A lot of them mostly are Dominican. Jesuit schools like Boston College, Holy Cross, Notre Dame are Jesuit schools. Providence College is a Dominican. They're a little more conservative, allegedly. But anyway, mourning the death of Pope Francis, who was just with the vice president yesterday as well. Crazy that he passes away the day after Easter Sunday. Anyway, welcome back to the Pete Sheppard Show. John Meter Perrell going to join me at 9:05 today, and we'll set the scene. I know he's not in Hopkinton. I don't think he's ever run the Boston Marathon, although, I cannot be sure. He's kooky enough. He might have done it back in the day, but I'm not sure he did. I know some other people that have. As I said, my buddy Steve Buckley's run it. Christopher Price has run it. Steve Diassi has run it back then. But you got to train all year round. You got to do a lot of kooky stuff. You really do.
Yep.
We'll get to today in sports history in a second. But Angel, I did find an interesting story that is out there. What did I do with it? Of course it's out there. What the hell did I do with it? Hold on. Oh, here it is. Hang on. Hold on. See, all this stuff happens and see, I put this stuff out there and then I lose it. Hang on. I have to scroll. Tell everybody that about Duncan Dad going to Lambeau Field while I get this again. Sorry about that.
Sure, man, no worries. We'll talk over two updates. One is, yes, Duncan Dad will be up there at Lambeau and in Green Bay, Wisconsin, starting Wednesday. So he'll be reporting live come Thursday for the first round of the NFL draft, and he'll be up there as well for round 2 on Friday. And then making his way back to Philly, so he'll be up there for the Coastal Sports Network and Sports Radio 102.9. Also, for those who like to listen in on the app, we thank you guys and girls for downloading the app. We do appreciate it. The music is back, so if you guys want to be entertained by different genres of music, after the show's over, there'll be different hours until I line things up correctly, where you'll hear between salsa and country and club music and progressive rock. So it'll be a little bit of everything for you guys and girls who love to hear music afterwards. So as we have Pete Show on in the morning from 7 to 10, the replay is always available, not only on the digital radio platform, but obviously over on the website as well at sr1029thegame.com, as you guys see right above the screen there. So anytime the show, for some reason, goes away from Facebook, you guys can always go to sr1029thegame.com, look under the starting lineup, grab it under the Pete Sheppard Show, and you can watch the live show there, both on the radio if you guys are going in a car, the Android player, the CarPlay, and if you're on the road, the best way to listen in is on the radio. Therefore, you're not being distracted while driving and trying to watch the video element of the show. So hopefully, what happened?
Thank you.
Not there?
It's not. It's there, but I don't know why it's not doing what it's supposed to do. I don't understand. I just had this funny story. It was very, very funny. A little perverted, but funny. Oh, here we go. Okay. I'll get to that in one second. Let me just quickly touch on Monsieur Nico Iamaleava. Something like that. He's transferred to UCLA. My journey at UT has come to an end, he wrote on Instagram. This decision was incredibly difficult and truthfully not something I expected to make this soon, but I trust God's timing, and I believe he's leading me where I need to be. Well, God's got nothing to do with it. You let your idiotic handlers handle this the wrong way. Sorry, including your dad. All right, so don't give me this bullshit about all that stuff. You're a young man, I get it, but you needed to hire a professional agent. He made some huge, gigantic statement. He starts off, he wants to thank his Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, for his grace, for contributing to bless my family, and for allowing me to live out my passion each and every day. Okay, great. what you thought you were about to make $10 million over the next few years,
Right.
but instead, the 2.4, whatever it was that you were getting, you thought you deserved Carson Beck money at 4.2, whatever it was. You had the wrong people. And I'm sure it wasn't the baby Jesus who told you to get greedy. Your handlers told you need to get more money, and they screwed you. And it has nothing to do with God or anything else. It has to do with your handlers, including your dad, who did this to you because of their own selfishness. That's why. So you go to UCLA for less money, and it's just unfortunate that you didn't have the proper advisor to advise you to hire a real agent. That's why. Unbelievable. I know your brother's out there, and I get all that. He was earning $2.4 million in Tennessee under the contract he signed with Spire Group, Sports Group. And the deal would have paid him in the $10 million range altogether had he stayed 4 years at Tennessee. You're not making that anything close to that at UCLA. It is not going to happen. Not going to happen. But so be it. I don't wish him any ill will, but I hope he's successful. I thought he was going to be very successful at Tennessee. He had his moments, but simply not enough of them. Not enough of them. You're not at that elite status for a college football quarterback. You're a very good quarterback, and maybe you turn into a great quarterback. But right now, you're good. You're not great, and only the great ones are going to get paid that kind of money. Now, that being said, this is where the NCAA has got to come in, and somehow, some way, before it gets to Congress, I do not want politicians getting involved in this, but this is the kind of deal where he was making $2.7 million, was going to make over $10 million if he stayed at 4 years. Those are the deals that need to get signed, and you're committed to, unless you want to go to the NFL. That's the only way you're out of it. But if you're committed to then you're committed to it. You're committed to Tennessee for 4 years. End of story. Maybe you put a stipulation there or a clause. If your coach leaves, then you can transfer. It would have to be outside the conference, but I can understand that if the coach leaves and you want to transfer, I can understand that. But barring that, unless you want to go to the NFL, you need to be held bound by these contracts. They need to be official contracts and signed. Otherwise, the chaos, it's already happening. It's going to get even worse if Charlie Baker and company at the NCAA don't get a hold of this. Because before you know it, some idiotic politicians are going to get involved and then really screw it up. So anyway. There you have it. Also, did I lose the story again? I'm not losing it. Am I losing it? I might be losing it. I'm not losing it. I have it.
Did you minimize it?
I lost it again. Oh, there it is. So many buttons to click. All right. Here's an interesting. Nope, not that. Before we get to this day in sports history, this is from Outkick, also the New York Post. What do you do when it's time to get rid of your old sex toys, Angel?
Recycle them?
Well, do you toss them in the trash where they're no longer needed? Do you donate them? Those are too risky. What about setting them on fire in your backyard? So that, in theory, would be far less embarrassing, obviously, than the other options. You take them out back, set them on fire, and poof, they're gone, right? No evidence of the toys and nothing they can come back to hurt you. Of course, that can also be different unless the fire gets out of hand, which is exactly what happened. Allegedly what happened last week to a Staten Island man in New York. Plans to set fire to a pair of sex toys that ended in disaster. 37-year-old Harry Torres reportedly admitted to police, according to the New York Post, that he was responsible for a 3-alarm blaze that set his house and 2 of his neighbors' houses, 2 vehicles on fire. The fire was lit around 1 p.m. on Wednesday and reportedly included a rubber vagina. Torres was arrested for what Deputy Assistant Chief David Sims described as a heavy, deep-seated fire that necessitated the use of 3 alarms. He added that all civilians were accounted for and that it took the FDNY until just before 4 p.m. to get the fire under control. This was at 131 North Bugert Avenue on Staten Island. Torres' backyard sex toy fire thankfully didn't cause any injuries, but landed him several charges. According to court records, he was charged with 4th-degree arson, 2nd-degree reckless endangerment, and 4th-degree criminal mischief. All things considered, setting the sex toys on fire rather than tossing them into the trash and risking a noisy neighbor or a hungry animal digging them out, dragging them onto the front lawn wasn't the best idea. But the bottom line is don't burn your sex toys in a fire pit adjacent to your home, where your home and 2 others and a vehicle get caught in flames.
First, what did he use for the flammables, number one? And did he make a gasoline trail back to the house?
I guess the grill was too close to the house. I'm not sure exactly where it was, but he probably, he just threw some lighter, like whatever. Some people use lighter fluid in their grill, right? Instead of, they have charcoal or whatever, and sometimes they add lighter fluid to, obviously, he had no idea what the hell he was doing.
Well, speaking about a grill, we were passing by, I think it was either yesterday or possibly on Saturday. We were watching this guy on putting his grill together, and it looks like he was going to make burgers or something. I think he must have emptied out at least, if not a quarter, half of the bottle of lighter fluid. So if he made any kind of burgers, you were getting the taste of lighter fluid instead of the taste of the meat.
Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah.
Oh, that is the absolute worst.
Yep. I don't know how would I do it, but I don't know. Maybe Dylan's done that before. Good morning, all.
But, good morning, everybody.
Yeah, it's just, there's, you put a little squirt in there, light it up, poof, there he goes. But he was just going and going and going. Like, holy craps. There's so much for your food. But hey.
All right, we'll get to some, there's nothing worse than that, too. A lot of professional chefs know how to use a blowtorch. And even if you're doing, a brulee, I understand that at the end. But if you're, I remember Julia Child, or very few other chefs know how to glaze a meringue, a pie coming out of the oven. A lot of them do it with the blowtorch at the thing at the end. And that's really risky because you can really you lose the taste, and you get that, like you just said, you get the gassy taste from the thing as opposed to being able to do it in the oven. Anyway, for the best articles and audio, there's only one source that provides everything you need 365 days a year to satisfy your sports crave. It's Total Sports Prep. The staff combing through the best articles and audio so you don't have to. Sports and non-sports kicker stories will leave you laughing all day long, like that one. To get your free trial of Total Sports Prep, contact them. info@sportsbroadcastingcoach.com. info@sportsbroadcastingcoach.com. Total Sports Prep. The name says it all. All right, we got some time here. Meter coming on in about 8 or 9 minutes or so. So let's do Today in Sports History. And there's a lot of baseball stuff. We begin in Philadelphia, where Angel wasn't even a wee lad yet. 1898, Angel. 1898 at the Baker Bowl. Philadelphia Phillies pitcher Bill Duggleby hit a grand slam in his first Major League at-bat. In 1968, Bobby Bonds for the Giants will hit one in his first game and his third at-bat against the Dodgers. But Duggleby's feat, wasn't he in Harry Potter? Sure, Duggleby's feat will not be matched until August 31st, 2005, when Jeremy Hermida of the Florida Marlins went yard with the bases full against the Cardinals. How about that? Unbelievable. In 1900, at Southside Park, the Chicago American League entry opens the White Stockings, losing to the visiting Brewers 5-4. 1904, Ty Cobb made his pro debut for Augusta, the South Atlantic League. How about that?
Oh, I remember that one.
In 1951, Bob Davies' 2 foul shots and Jack Coleman's layup gave the Rochester Royals a 79-75 triumph over the Knicks in the 7th game of the NBA Championship Series. Too bad. 1951, the Toronto Maple Leafs win the Stanley Cup for the 4th time in 5 years, and they beat the Montreal Canadiens 3-2 in the 5th game. Haven't won it since. Let's move on to 1961. The Minnesota Twins, formerly known as the Washington Senators, play their first home game in Minnesota at Metropolitan Stadium, losing to the expansion new Washington Senators 5-3. In 1970, just like yesterday, the Reds clout 7 home runs by 6 batters Braves countered with 3 home runs, 6 for one team, and 9 different batters for the team's all-time records. Meanwhile, let's see. 1970, Bob Cousy of the Celtics and Bob Pettit of St. Louis inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame in Springfield, Massachusetts. 1975, the 79th Boston Marathon American Bill Rogers wins men's section in the race in 2 hours, 9 minutes, and 55 seconds. Leon Winter of the West Germany women's capture the female world record, 2 hours, 42 minutes, 24 seconds. It's since been broken. By the way, I was already predicted by me, there will be either an Ethiopian or a Kenyan to win the men's side of the Boston Marathon today. Going way out on a limb. 1987, the Milwaukee Brewers' 13-game winning streak from the start of the season ends with a 7-1 loss to the Chicago White Sox. Milwaukee's 13-0 start tied the Major League record set by the Atlanta Braves back in 1982. That was Joe Torre's managed team there. In 1990, a National League umpire is arrested for stealing baseball cards.
All right.
1991, in the greatest extra inning comeback in Major League history, the Pittsburgh Pirates score 6 runs in the bottom of the 11th inning to erase a 5-yard Cubs lead built in the top of the inning on Andre Dawson's grand slam. The Pirates had rallied earlier from a 7-2 deficit to the game and tied in the ninth. 1991, the Denver Nuggets followed a 131-125 road loss at Houston, set an NBA record for points allowed per game with an average of 130.8. That broke the previous mark of 126 set by Denver in 81-82. Oh, yeah, those old Alex English teams were something. Not defensively, were something else. Let's see. Let's move on. Let's get closer to today's date. 1996, Jimmy the Greek Snyder, sportscaster, bookmaker, NFL Today Show, fired for racist remarks, died of a heart attack at the age of 77. 1996, the NBA, boosted by presence of Canadian expansion franchises in Toronto and Vancouver, set an all-time attendance record for the 11th time in 13 years after drawing 20 million 500,000 fans for 1,189 games. Average attendance, 17,252 per game. Also set a record. Charlotte's average, 24,042 fans per game, leading the league. Not so much anymore. Tell you that. Not so much anymore. Let's see. In 2000, the Anaheim Angels downed the Tampa Bay Rays 9-6. Mo Vaughn and Tim Salmon hit back-to-back home runs for Anaheim in the 4th inning. They repeat the feat in the 9th. Troy Glaus also homers in the same 2 innings, marking the first time in Major League history that 3 players homer in the same inning twice in the same game. The 3 players with 2 home runs in the game ties another Major League record. 2001, on this day, NFL Draft. Virginia Tech quarterback Michael Vick, first pick by the Atlanta Falcons. How about that? 2009, Andy Pettitte picks up the win with Mariano Rivera the save when the Yankees defeat Oakland 5-3. And the first night game played at the new Yankee Stadium. It's the 57th time that Rivera has saved a Pettitte win, tying Oakland A's duo Bob Welch and Dennis Eckersley of the late 80s and early 90s. Let's see. 2010, Roy Halladay continues to be outstanding for Angels Phillies. He pitches his first shutout in the National League, disposing of the Braves 2-0. He's 4-0 at that time with an 0.82 ERA for the season. Joey B, good morning, Pete and Angel. Good morning, Joey B.
Good morning, Joey B.
2012, with no sense of history, the Red Sox continue to have a highly embarrassing week while celebrating Fenway Park's centenary. That day in 2012, this day in 2012, they take a 9-0 lead over the Yankees, only to collapse, totally coughing up 15 unanswered to lose the game. 14 of the runs come courtesy of a bullpen that has been horrendous since the season started. And with the team trailing 9-1 in the 7th, Nick Swisher gets the Bronx Bombers rolling with a grand slam off Vicente Padilla. Mark Teixeira had a 3-run shot before the inning ends, only but only served as the up a nightmarish 8th inning, during which 3 other relievers gave up 7 more runs. And manager Bobby Valentine is booed heavily every time he comes out of the dugout to make a pitching change. This is the same manager. I was filling in for Glenn one day. We're doing the show at Fenway, and every Wednesday we interview the managers. So it's me, Steve Buckley, and it might have been Sean McAdam, but it was our day that Bobby comes. They just came back from Oakland, finished off a 2-7 road trip. So I said, Bobby, what? I said, what do you take out of this road trip? I said, disastrous road trip going 2-7. He goes, what do you mean disastrous? He goes, we won 2 games. Oh yeah, but you lost 7. Some of them in horrible fashion. Yeah, but the positives are we won 2. All I can think of, he should be fired today. He was fired at the end of the season. He was a weird dude. He was a weird man. Let me tell you, one of the weirdest guys I've ever met. All right, let's see if we can get closer. Joey says, Angel, I swear if my Giants draft Shedeur, I'm touring all the Giants and going to become a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. Shedeur in that market in New York City with his brand, with his circus show. I don't know, Joey. I don't know about that. I think it's with the coach and the GM. That's what I think you have to worry about, because both of them should not be there. Both of them should not be there. All right, finally, 2019, Rangers slugger Joey Gallo ends a bizarre streak when he drives in a run on a sacrifice fly in the 4th inning as part of a wild 11-10 win over the Astros. He had gone 1,145 at-bats in his career without recording a sacrifice fly. That's the longest such streak since it was introduced as an official stat back in 1954. And in the game, Shelby Miller records his first win in over 2 years. Wow. How about that? Birthdays today go out to, let's see, Jesse Orozco, former Mets and Orioles reliever. Spencer Tillman, former Oilers and 49ers running back. Eddie Belfour, Hall of Famer, Blackhawks and Stars goalie. He was outstanding back in the day. Who else's birthday today is Vincent LeCavalier from the Lightning. Great job, Stanley Cup winner.
Yep.
LeCavalier back in over Calgary. Tony Romo, born in 1980 on this day. Who else? Who else would you know? God, a lot of these guys, no idea. Jared Allen, Cavs center. He was born this day back in 1998. All right, there you go. John Meade-Perrell should be joining us momentarily here on the Pete Sheppard Show on the Coastal Sports Network in our final segment. We get Meader's take on, I don't know. I wish he was running the marathon and could be on with us as he's running the marathon.
Oh, that'd be something. Be something unique. No, that'd be good. By the way, this Saturday, 6 p.m. will be the spring game for USF men's football. So that'll be going on Saturday. Tickets are still available. If you guys want to go out there, $10, $5 over to the couple of the food trucks are going to be in there. $5 also split for your entrance to get in. So it'll be a good time out there at Corbett Stadium. They will not be at Ray J because it's not in-season game. It is a spring game, so we'll be at Corbett Stadium. 6 p.m., get there early. Parking will be limited because obviously the area gets swamped and inundated not only by that, but baseball, softball. So this Saturday coming up, USF spring games. So you guys can go out there and watch.
Awesome stuff. I remember the Red Sox were playing at 11-10 today. So those of you, and they are a huge favorite at minus 325. I would suggest the money line at minus 1.5, get it down to minus 120. Because I would not lay minus 325. No. And on Patriots Day, let me see if I can, before I pull this up, as far as numbers go, the Red Sox are okay on Patriots Day. They're not great. A lot of guys don't want to play in it because it's early in the game. Some guys want to play in it. I think you would want to play in it because it's pretty historic day, but I can certainly understand, especially an early game after a night game. So I'm not sure in fact, let me see for a second. I'm sure it's out. Let me check real quick what the starting lineup is going to be for the Red Sox today. Those of you who are headed in Usually it comes out, and here it is. Just like that. Well, Jared Duran, I'm not surprised. He never takes a day off, ever. He never wants to play. Oh, they got pretty much everybody. Well, how about that? Duran, Devers, Bregman, Trevor Story, who did have the day off yesterday, is back at shortstop at cleanup. Abreu, Christian Campbell. Everybody's in. That's good news. That's good news for the Red Sox. All the starters are in.
If that's the case, then why don't they do an early afternoon game on the night before? Therefore, they don't have to come off a night game to go play a day game.
Well, it wasn't. They did play early. They did play early afternoon yesterday.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. What did I say? Yeah, they did play. They did play early afternoon yesterday.
Okay.
We got over about 4:00.
Yeah. So
they started at 1:30. It was a longer game. There was some late runs and stuff like that. But yeah, but nevertheless, it's still, by the time they get home and everything else, it's probably 6:30, 7:00. And then, a lot of those guys, you're back in the ballpark by 7 in the morning. It does throw you off a little bit. There's no question about it. It does throw you off a little bit. Get to today. Meter. I'm going to text him.
By the way, there he is.
Oh, there he is.
Poof, and he's there.
Unbelievable. Hey, Meter, just going through. John Meter Perel joining us, Boston College play-by-play voice, ACC Network play-by-play voice. Was at the Celtics yesterday. Couldn't hear himself think because the music was so fucking loud. I couldn't hear myself think, and I had to turn it down. Could not hear the announcers. Not that I really wanted to. But the Red Sox just announced their starting lineup. Everybody's playing. Everybody, all the including Trevor Story, who's back in.
As well, they should, because you're faced with a possible another loss to the White Sox. And Pete, this is got a little issue with your hometown nine as we say good morning on Marathon Monday. All right, you and I are big trend guys, and I know what you're going to say. It's early. It's not early anymore.
It's early.
You're 23 games in. You're 20. That's not 3 games. That's not 4.
They're 5
that's
and
not
1 in
5.
their last 6. So they're 5 and 1 in their last 6. So what's the trend we're going to talk about?
The trend we're going to talk about is they're 12 and 11, and look at their record their last 5 years. They're a 500 team. They are who they are right now. Until that changes, and I know that's a Belichickian comment, but until that changes, I'm not buying. I love to buy. No one loves the team more than I do, but they're flawed defensively. They're flawed hitting with runners in scoring position. The rotation is extremely questionable, especially when Tanner Houck could be a huge zero.
Yeah.
And their bullpen is shaky. So, look, I love a lot of things that they did. I love the fact that Roman Anthony's killing the ball in Worcester, but I just can't get into it right now. And you can't sell me that they're a World Series team.
Oh, I'm not going. That's not even close to. I just want them to be competitive for a playoff spot here. So far, they are. They've been mediocre. Exactly that. It's like they've been streaky all year. So far, and it's very early, but it's been streaky. They did win 5 out of 6. Yesterday's loss sort of sucked. Everything you say is true. I don't disagree. I don't disagree with any of it, except Roman Anthony should be up here, and I don't know why they send that kid Dobbins down. I'm sorry. That kid has got it.
I agree with you.
He has got it. I don't know how you send him down. He's got poise for a youngster and everything. You want to send somebody down, send Houck down. Get that fucking guy's head straightened out. Because he's and I know the wind was tough yesterday in the first inning. I get it. Dave O'Brien and Lou Maloney were talking about it right before the game started. And when that pop fly was hit, I'm like, uh-oh, forget it. Watch this. And then it affected him. It clearly affected him once again on the mound. But Dobbins should absolutely be in the starting rotation for the Red Sox. I'm sorry.
No, there's got to be at least you'd think there'd be a space for him. I heard a couple people say, "Oh, his command's not there." I'm like the rest of the staff, none of their command is there.
His command
outside of Cara Crochet.
It's not like he's walking 10 guys a game. I mean, he gets poised. He doesn't get rattled either. I love that kid's style.
Yeah, no, I think it's just a matter of time before he's up again. They're gonna have to figure out something with Houck. It's too bad because he's an all-star last year, and suddenly now he's derailed. So, but the good news is, Pete, as we walked to the Garden yesterday, I did feel the wind. It's like a 30-mile-per-hour gust. It's like you in the old days, walking to the old Garden in those wind tunnels.
Shit, do you know I had to do we did our show when Wick and the crew bought the team. I had to do a show outside there and it was early April.
Oh,
and I was like, and I was like behind some sort of outside in the parking lot where people could see, but I remember it was freezing cold. I mean, like zero with the wind. They had to bring out a heater. My laptop. It was like, what are we doing? Why do I have to be out here like this?
They put you outside?
Outside. We were doing some giveaway at WE. I can't remember what it was. Wick Rosebeck came out. He's like, I was listening to you on the radio. Goes, and now I know why you're so cold. That was the first words he ever said to me.
Wow. And now I have respect for you, Pete.
Congratulations on buying a team. That was freezing.
Unbelievable. They couldn't put you at the Harp? They couldn't put you at halftime pizza?
No, I forget we were doing some stupid thing outside with the street teamers, and I don't know what it was. All I know is I froze my tuchus off. It was crazy.
Your tuchus. That word was used last night on Sunday Night Baseball by David Cohn. I was very impressed.
Well, I brought it back. I take full credit. The Greek word for buttocks or butt. So it's like
it's also the
Yiddish.
Yiddish.
It's underused.
It's a Yiddish word too.
Yes.
Tukish. Yes.
What's your favorite Yiddish word?
Oh God, there's so many of them. There's a few that we can't use on this program.
I like schmuck.
Schmuck's a good one. Schmuck's a very good one. I'll give you that one. The Celtics played like some schmucks in the first half yesterday.
Yeah, again, you know what? It looked like they hadn't played in a week, and they hadn't.
No, they hadn't.
Although I heard they had good practices last week, but the beauty of that team, as usual, is that you don't need. Jason had an off shooting night, but he did a lot of other great things defensively. 14 rebounds that people aren't talking about. Porzingis had an off shooting night as well for him. I get it, but they're so deep, they don't need it. They have guys like Derek White, and then Pritchard steps up. There are other guys that they're just too deep. They're just too deep, and I know that Porzingis and Tatum will have tremendous games on Wednesday night. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind. I was scared. Shit, what were your thoughts when Jason went down? I thought he broke his wrist. And I didn't think it should have been a flagrant one, by the way. And when I looked at it a bunch of times, I thought it was a guy going up for a block. He didn't hurt his wrist on going up for the dunk. He hurt it bracing himself on the way down. I got scared. a little bit, Angel, Meter there for a second.
Did you almost call me Angel?
I did. Well, that would have been.
Boy, there's so many things you can call me, but just don't call me Angel. But yes, I couldn't tell from my perspective. I was rather high in the balcony and sitting kind of closer to where he went down. Upon further review, the replays didn't look like a flagrant. Mazzulla's reaction was interesting. I think he thought Tatum was faking it. So, and maybe he was on some levels. I'm sure he was hurt a little bit, but yeah, Mazzulla was a little unhinged. I don't think he was happy with the way they were playing at all, nor should he have been. They got to figure out a way to stop Bencaro. Wagner's a terrific player.
Yeah,
he would be a great Celtic.
Like I said, when I texted you at halftime, like they don't make 3-pointers. The Magic don't. They got
no, and that's why they're losing
because they're up by 1 point at halftime. What they fucking do? And before you could blink, with 8.5 minutes into the third quarter, they're down by 17. And it could have been a lot worse.
And that's what the Celtics do. I will say I was not overly impressed by Jaylen Brown, and I know everybody's looking at him. He does not have an explosion element to his game right now. He went up a couple times. He was better in the second half. But in the first half, it was noticeable to me.
Then you might be right. That's what people were kind of worried about, his knee bothering and everything. He had a couple of good moves, but I agree with you on the whole. It wasn't a great shooting night for Tatum, Brown, and Porzingis, but they still played defense. Derek White is unbelievable. That team doesn't quit. You see the freaking Lakers the other night when things start to go awry, and Luka Doncic is the same old shit. They are going down. I said it, Minnesota, as long as they're healthy, going to beat them in 5. They cannot handle those guys. They don't have a center. The Lakers don't. All this Luka crap, it doesn't mean shit because they are not going to get out of it. They're not. They're as a fraudulent 3 seed as you'd ever want to find out. Good luck. They're not beating the Timberwolves. They're not.
I kind of like when Redick just sits on the bench and doesn't do anything, which is what he did throughout the second half.
A joke. He's an absolute joke.
I kind of want them to. which will never happen because Oklahoma City. By the way, Oklahoma City just scored again.
Well, how about? I mean, you
That
talk
was
about
that was
you
a
talk about
complete embarrassment.
Beyond embarrassing for the league. Embarrassing.
Totally. I walked into the Garden restaurant. I looked at the game. I said to somebody, "Is this a joke?" This is in the third quarter. They had 36 points. Memphis had 36 points, but I've never seen that in my life.
I watched the whole thing. I was watching on my laptop, watching the Red Sox on the big screen, waiting for the Celtics at 3:30. I was like, this is such an. I'm thinking what Adam Silver's going through his head. Like I don't care. An NBA team to lose by the 6th or 7th worst record defeat in first round history, 51 points. It's just embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. And but good news, Jay Morant says it'll never happen again. Okay.
Next time they'll lose by 31.
Yeah, that'll be a see. We played better. We only lose by 50. We lost by 30.
Oklahoma City is a machine, and you and I have said it that's the team you worry about. And I know there's a long way to go. You got 15 more wins to win a title.
Well, they got a lot to worry about too, because they've been in this position before, somewhat. Not like this. Look, I think they're going to get to the finals this year. Don't get me wrong, I do. But they still.
I think Oklahoma City is going to finals. Definitely, I'd be stunned.
I'm not. It's still that maturity factor with them. They're kind of like the Bruins were a couple of years ago. You win the President's Trophy, you do all that stuff. They're not going to get bounced in the first round, but they still have a lot to prove to a lot of people, Meter. And I think they're going to get it done personally. But am I going to be stunned if they lose to a more veteran presence team? Not the Lakers, but even the Clippers, Golden State, maybe even the Timberwolves. I am not going to be. I'm not going to be surprised. I'm not going to be surprised. SGA didn't have a great shooting night yesterday either.
No, but that was the beauty of the game. It shows that they're much. People don't. Obviously, he's the number one focal point. He's going to be, runner up to MVP, maybe MVP. Who knows? So that team they have a dynamic element that a lot of people like you and I, we don't watch them that much during the season, but they won 68 games for a reason. And they match up well with the Celtics. So we got a lot of time to worry about here, a lot of time to think about New York and who knows, Orlando. I think Orlando will take a game, probably. I think they'll go in 5. I know up here, of course, the Celtic cheerleaders were talking about a sweep.
Yeah. I said 5, getting gentleman's sweep. I think
they might take a game in Orlando. Are you going down? You and Angel should do a road trip. I ask you this all the time.
Driving to Orlando. I can't stand the fucking noise. I said to you yesterday, it really, Boston never used to be the Garden as bad as the other. Orlando used to be the worst. And I know you've done Celtics games before. You've done games on the road.
Done a game there.
Yeah. How do you think? I thought that David Stern passed a rule back in the day, or Adam Silver, one of them did, where the music and the crap was supposed to stop at half court as soon as the ball crosses the timeline. What is the rule? It is beyond obnoxious. I can't hear myself thinking. I'm watching it on TV. It's so bad.
It's too much. It's crept into baseball too. Red Sox are doing it a lot in between pitches. My buddy's a longtime season ticket holder. You know him, Rob Rudnick. He can't stand it. He's been there for 50 years and he can't stand it. He's complained to the team. A lot of people around him sitting in Dennis Drinkwater.
Purpose. What is the purpose of it?
They think it's what the kids like. The kids. It's always about the kids. It's what the kids like. They like the noise. They want to be bombarded.
The kids don't know half the songs that are being played anyway.
No, I know. It's the sound effects. It's the long day from the days of John Kiley, Pete.
No, it's, all these
stadiums, your organist.
Houses in the left field and right field, because the parents have to go with their rugrats and sit with them for 3 innings out and not watch the game. I don't know why just go to Chuck E. Cheese. Do the same thing. Why would you waste money with these 2-3-year-olds at games that don't want to be there? I never understand that.
And you're talking still exists
about bonding with your child. Bond with your child without you shelling out $300 or $400. Go to Chuck E. Cheese or Dave and Buster's. Do that. Your kid doesn't give a shit about the game. He's not going to remember the game or anything like that. Oh, I got to touch Wally's face. Yeah. All right. Great. Wonderful.
Yeah, I saw 4 months old.
Moment that is.
There were a couple babies at the Garden yesterday wearing
ridiculous
headsets.
Yeah. Isn't that unbelievable? Isn't it unbelievable? And you see him at football games too. It's like 0 outside. I'm like, what are you thinking?
Yeah,
what are your parents thinking?
I never did that. Never took my kids to a game at that early age.
I was 7. My first game, I was 7.
I think I was 6. Yeah,
I'm sorry, 8. It was 1975 at Fenway. That was my first game.
You remember walking into the underneath the home plate stands, walking up and seeing the green grass and the monster in front of you. It was a dramatic landscape.
Oh, I remember.
You've never seen grass like that before.
Oh,
except at a party at Bryant University.
Yeah, it was amazing walking the first time walking up, and my dad had gotten seats. One of his patients had given him almost where our luxury box used to be. Back then, when the luxury boxes, it was third base rooftop.
Yeah, I remember those.
And it was great. And then Fisk, Yaz, and Rice all hit home runs in the first inning, and they went on to crush the Twins. They went on to crush. They're all Yaz's was right field. The other two were over the green. It was just, and I'm like, is every game going to be like this? But it was
pretty much during those years.
But I kept score. My dad taught me, and I picked it up right about how to keep score and everything else. I mean, I didn't need a bouncy house. I didn't need music. I just wanted to be there, and I wanted the game to last forever. I wanted the game to last 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I got pissed when they were taking the starters out in the 8th inning when Zimmer took Walter Johnson took the starters out in the
Darryl Johnson
because of the score was 11-1, 12-1, whatever it was. But
welcome to Red Sox baseball in 1978 and in 2025 for that matter.
But speaking of the Red Sox and everything else, so today's a big day. Obviously, Patriots Day was always very special. I already played the clip from Ortiz from yesterday from 2013. And that's, for me, Meter. And that was right in between. I can't remember if I think I was in between the second and third time that I worked at WEI. So that was the last game I was actually in the stands for. Me and
you're like one of those casts from the Love Boat, one of those Love Boat special appearances. Hey, Pete's back. Look, Charo's back.
Yeah.
Sheppard's back at EEI.
But that was the last game I was in the stands, and my wife was working at Mass General at the time, as I was saying earlier, and our friends were doing a triage unit, which they always did every year for that, just set up, just in case. Anyway, we were going to walk down there, and then we didn't. We decided, because the way they block off the streets, and we couldn't cut across, and we didn't. It's like we'll just go downtown and go get something to eat, and then all hell broke loose, and then we found out. Thank God, her friends, my friends, they were okay. Obviously, a lot of other people were not. Good. But I didn't wonder. Were you on the air? Were you on the air that morning? I can't remember.
I drove into my front yard and in my driveway in Framingham. I remember listening to the radio and hearing. I think it was Michael Hawley. Right after the game, and it was just. He said, "Well, we got a problem at the finish line," and then I sat there for 10 minutes and listened to them. And of course, I went inside and turned on the television.
Yeah,
it happened. So that was the aftermath of that was chilling too. You try to describe it to people. I know you remember it. Mm-hmm. Everybody sheltering in place. I remember there was no one, like 0 people in downtown Boston.
No,
which is just similar to what the pandemic was.
It was surreal. It was like, it reminded me, the only other comparison I could make was to 9/11 that day. When
it was if you weren't in this area, it's hard to describe, but we certainly will never forget it.
And never forget David Ortiz. It's still goosebumps when you hear those words. What he said, and that was a Fox game on a Saturday, and this is our fucking city, and no one's going to dictate, no terror is going to dictate, what we do. It was absolutely phenomenal.
It was, and then Daniel Nava hit the home run.
That's right. And
Orsillo's good call by Orsillo. Boston, This one's for you.
Yep, absolutely was. Yeah, never forget it. You're right. I'd forgotten about that. I say never forget, but I did forget about that.
Daniel Nava had a knack for the dramatic.
He did.
Do you remember he hit his first at bat was a grand slam?
Yep. Yeah.
First pitch.
Yep.
First pitch he saw in the major leagues.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I was sick had the flu, and I was watching the game. That's the only thing that could get me out of my bed.
Yeah.
to celebrate that hit. I mean, those are moments. Like there's some games, and I had this moment yesterday, Pete, sitting at the Garden, 39 years ago yesterday. Michael Jordan, 63-point game at the Garden against the Celtics. I was there. I was in middle school. Me and my buddy Sean were at the old Garden. 135, 131 Celtics. Double overtime. Jordan just single-handedly willed them to that double overtime. I walked out of there saying to my buddy, and I had seen Jordan before, not live. I said, that's the best player I've ever seen in my life, and he's the best player in NBA history. That was 1986.
Yep. Good call.
And this is you and I growing up watching all those storied teams. Which
I was 19. You were a little younger. You're a little younger than me.
But it's
absolutely
those type of games you remember.
Oh yeah, you remember them. That was amazing. And also, the Celtics swept that series, if I'm not mistaken, 4-0.
Too much Dave Corzine.
Dave Corzine.
You love Dave Corzine.
I like saying his name. But
Celtics City tonight, another episode.
Yes, absolutely. And the last one was tough with everybody dying, and
it was awful.
It's crazy. But I want to get back to Patriots Day because growing up in Rhode Island, I remember, I moved to Massachusetts in 1990, but my high school years were 82 to 85. It was always hard to go to school on Patriots Day because it felt like, even though we're in Rhode Island, it felt like, Massachusetts gets the whole day off, and I think Maine is the holiday in that state too. Only time me and a couple of friends called in, I got permission from my parents first, and so we went to Patriots Day. Like my junior year was like 1984, and I think they got clobbered that year. They've had some bad Patriots Day games where they lose 15 to 1, whatever. But anyway, it was about the trip. We're 16 years old and everything. But for Patriots Day for you, growing up in Massachusetts, right, you always had that day off.
Yeah, it was always April vacation. So we would go down to Wellesley, the Tony streets of Wellesley. And, Pete, we would cross the line between Weston and Wellesley. We'd go down.
How old were you when you first saw a black person?
We'd go, excuse me? I grew up with many. Robert Parrish lived around the corner from me.
I'm not saying that. I'm just, but
the Chief lived around the corner. I told you, I see the Chief riding around my neighborhood on a bike. He looked like Kermit the Frog.
D Brown too. But I'm talking about it. You know what I mean. There was not a lot of diversity in some of these towns in Wellesley and Weston and stuff like that. But anyway, I'm just busting.
So we'd go down to Wellesley College. There'd be not Brigham's. It was Bailey's. Remember Bailey's ice cream?
Bailey's ice cream, yeah.
Old school ice cream. My dad and I, my mom, we'd all, we just watched the runners. It was Alberto Salazar, Bill Rogers back in the day, Joan Benoit Samuelson. I'd see your boy Bob Lobel in the lead truck and say, man, I want to be that guy someday.
Yeah.
Or Mike Lynch or John Dennis or all those guys on the course. They love this day. Not.
Yeah.
We had Gene Levanchi on our Bill O'Brien podcast.
Yeah.
Episode 38. You should listen to that.
I will.
He has some good recollections of Boston sports anchors past, but yeah, no,
you had to work in the morning a few times with Dennis Callahan's show, right? And be at Fenway very early in the morning for this day, right? Because you were doing morning drive 6 to 10. The game's at 11. So
yep.
The only recourse is you got out. I think did you get out an hour early because of the pregame show or not? I can't remember.
Yeah, we would get out at usually 10:30, maybe 10 sometimes once they pumped it to an hour, but. Yeah, no, it was bad because we had to we'd have to do an extra half hour because of marathon day.
They'd
make us do an extra half hour, which was not a big deal. But yeah, just the parking is always, if you live in Boston, it's a headache. Newton, for that matter, there's no parking. All the neighboring towns, it's rough.
We had parking back then at the gas station across the street, right?
I told you it's $60 now.
Oh, I know it is. But I'm saying we had parking passes, media parking passes the station got for us.
Well, some of us did. I think I maybe had that once or twice.
Do you know they gave me a whole season's worth one year? Whole season's worth of parking passes.
Oh,
and the only
time you've done it. You've pushed me over the edge.
The only time I used them is when we were doing the show there on Wednesdays when they're home games. Once in a while, I go in and I told you, your dad, I'd say, I'm just going up to the box, and, Okay. I got my media pass. I take a couple of, not all the time, but I was like, those, I would give them away to all my friends at parking passes because they were as gold as tickets, like you said. Back then, it was even $40-$50.
Oh yeah, no, it's horrible. It's I got lucky on opening day. I found a meter. No pun intended. Get it, Angel?
But the meters today are not active, right? You can park in metered spots, right? Because of the holiday.
Yes, you can, but you have to walk. You'll be running from Hopkinton with the runners, Pete. But how far you have to park? But no, I think to summarize what you said though about the day, it is. People always say, "Why is it such a big deal?" I'm like, if you grew up around here, it's it's not like we're invested in the marathon. We like it. It's a nice event. None of us really know what the hell's going on.
I've already gone out on a limb and saying a Kenyan or an Ethiopian will win today.
Exactly. That was always our joke of the day on Marathon Monday. Pick your favorite Kenyan. Not that we had any idea who any of them were. Oh. Ibrahim Hussein is a favorite of yours, Pete.
Yeah. And how about the chick that went that cheated that time?
Oh, that was Rosie Ruiz.
Rosie Ruiz.
She got on the tee at Kenmore.
She got on the tee.
She got
in the middle of the race and took it a few. Angel, this woman got on the tee in the middle of the race and she got off of the tee and all of a sudden she was
started running.
Where is she? How'd she get
got
here?
Off at Kenmore and started running. You and I could do that. It's like less than a mile, right, to the finish line.
I never would have made it. I would have made it past Pizzeria Uno there. I would have gone. That would have been it.
No, that would me, you and me both. It's that was what was that? 1976?
No, it was after Rosie Reeves was after that.
Maybe 1980.
Yeah, it was in the 80s.
I think it was 45 years ago. So yeah, that's quite a. I don't know
if they'll be doing I've ever seen in sports. You talk about stealing signals in baseball.
Wait, who was the one that caught her?
Oh, they caught her in the aftermath. They caught her. They crowned her the champ, and then I guess someone called her out.
That cameras all over not as many.
I don't know about 1980.
No, but there were cameras that caught her that couldn't find her. I don't know, but there was video evidence somewhere along the way.
There had someone definitely, some Boston cop, I think, did some undercover work on that one, Angel.
Jeez Louise.
Doesn't happen in the Philadelphia Marathon.
Yeah, because there is no Philadelphia Marathon. That's what's good about it.
I was going to say, is there a Philly Marathon?
No. You kidding me? We got enough clowny stuff that went on in Philly between the parades and Thanksgiving, this, that, and the other. No, they don't need one. They have kind of one, but not as big as Boston.
Yeah, like a 10K sort of thing, and then
because they do. I don't know if they still do all three, but it would be and who the hell ever wanted to swim the school goes beyond me. But you used to have the swim, run, bike, and now I think it's pretty much a bike when you go up the Manayunk Wall.
And they have a rocky run.
You lost me at swim.
Yeah, Paul.
Have you ever thought about me before we let you go? Have you ever thought about the marathon? You ever thought about running it? We know a lot of people that have, right? Buck has run it. Christopher Price has run it. Diassi's run it. Who else has run it?
Kirk Minahan.
Minahan's run it. Yep.
A couple times.
Yeah. Well, he's cool. I think you have to be a little cuckoo to do this. I mean, and I praise all the athletes that do it. I think it's unbelievable.
My sister's run it twice.
Really?
Yeah, she did it. I think 20 years ago, it was about 80 degrees. She was out there. She finished. I think it was she might have done it under 4 hours one year.
That's great.
Which is quite a time. So
you never thought about doing it?
Never. I don't have it in me, Pete. I don't have the DNA for that.
It's tough.
I was a 40-yard dash guy. I was a 4.40 guy. I was like Irving Fryer and Stanley Morgan back in the day.
I ran the 442 back in the day. I ran cross country one year for my sophomore year, which we ran almost 10 miles a day anyway, until I busted my knee.
I thought you and Ordway were going to run one year.
Oh, please.
I would have paid to see that.
Oh man. And I would be back in the truck. Hello, come on.
I just want to be on the truck one year, just doing reporting from the truck. Remember those days too?
Yep. But I don't like driving backwards.
No, that might make you nauseous. You might be like Steve Carell in the episode of The Office when he starts puking.
I never saw it.
Oh, you never saw that episode?
I'm not an Office guy. I know it's a great show. I'm not an Office guy.
That's a fantastic show.
Do you remember that episode, Angel?
I gotta get into it. I really do.
The fettuccine Alfredo. He started Petey Carbo loads with fettuccine Alfredo. No wonder he threw up in the race.
Unbelievable. All right, what's your plans for today?
Today, just hanging out, man. I'm not venturing to mile 12. I'm just I'll watch it from far, and then we'll move on.
Cool. Well, thank you, my man, so much. With this stroll down memory lane once again. Awesome stuff. I don't know, maybe we'll talk later in the week. Let's see how the week goes. See what happens after the draft coming up on Thursday. We'll have our mock draft on this show. And I'm going to start working on a little big show reunion or a WEI reunion. Angel said we can get 12 people up here.
New England Patriots select Ozzie Trapillo, Boston College.
You know what? They could do worse.
Yeah, absolutely. Good third round pick.
All right, what else you got coming up on with your stuff? Podcasts and all that.
Podcast taping tomorrow with Bill O'Brien. Scott Pioli will be our guest this week.
Nice. Tell him hello.
Good to catch. I will. Good to catch up with him. And episode Mike Greenwell will drop later in the week. And nice. We have arena football as well, Pete. But I'm everywhere.
Awesome.
Working on an ACC show for ACC Network as well.
Awesome, man. Great. I want to be a guest. Nice. All right. Make sure it's on the Hurricanes. Anyway, Meter, we'll talk to you later on this week. Thanks so much, buddy. Enjoy.
All right, boys. Thank you.
See you, Meter.
Angel, that's going to do it for us today. Back tomorrow with another great show coming up. Jay Flanley will be one, and God only knows who else. So I want to thank everybody for checking us out here on the Pete Sheppard Show. I am Pete, and back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Bye-bye.
Your spirit up above. I was choking in the crowd.